Yo, check, mic, check. Big up, everybody.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
Check two, 1 2 1 2. How's it going? Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you perfectly.
All
You
right,
still hear
sounds
me?
good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, ready to get into this part two? Jeez.
Yep. This
Um,
part two is gonna be the trip, everybody. We're starting in 1 minute.
mhm.
Everybody's here early. Thanks for being here. Yeah, everybody's here early. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Mark Smith. Thank you, Aduki Go. Thanks for being here. You
Yep,
know,
yep.
in 1 minute we're gonna start this. You know, it's gonna be
Uh,
another fire episode. We come with the fire. We're gonna have. We might have Anna. Okay, I gave Anna the link. So if he want to do a special feature, we'll jump him in for a second. He could do a quick special feature. Not gonna be long, but if you and because he knows, so I just want to make him. I just want to give it extra touch. That'll be extra touch. You know what I'm saying? He'll come on, and then
yeah,
yeah, we'll make him say something, and then you can say a little something, give us something. He knows so much about things, and then and then do the open. So hey, okay, it's 9:30. 9:30. Hey everybody, hello everybody. Welcome to reading with Mr. Pelu, hosted by your lovely Jen Wallace. Jen Wallace.
hey, big up, big up. Thanks, bro. Good to have you again. Excited for the second part. Um, yeah, I'm just trying to get the thing up, and for some share screen window. Why is my window not? Choose what you want to share. Come on.
You-
All right, let me pull that up. Maybe it has to be up. All right.
Hey, did we
There we
read the
go.
acknowledgments part last time? Did we do the did we do the acknowledgement?
Um.
I don't think we did. I don't think we got to acknowledgement last time, right? We didn't do acknowledgement. We didn't do that part.
All right, we could knock that out real quick.
Yeah, we. I think we did the rest of it until that part, right?
Yeah, I don't think we did the acknowledgement.
Yeah, that's what we
Okay.
didn't do. We did the rest of it as acknowledgement. So let's start with acknowledgments then, right?
All right, cool. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna close the door. 1 sec. Ugh. Hmm. 9:31. All right. So yeah, again we're continuing the common ground between Islam and Buddhism book. And so we're at the acknowledgement parts, and it says, I would like to express deep gratitude to the two moving spirits behind this historic initiative to bring Muslims and Buddhists closer together in respect, compassion, and mutual understanding. His Holiness the Dalai Lama and His Royal Highness Prince Ghazi bin Mohammed. May the grace of the all compassionate bless their lofty vision and noble intentions with rich fruit in the barely cultivated but immensely fertile common ground upon which these two great traditions stand. I must also humbly and thankfully acknowledge the inestimable help given to me by Richard Weingarten in regard to the Buddhist side of this book. After having read my first draft, he not only made several important comments and corrections, but also directed me to a whole range of key Buddhist texts which were most pertinent to the central arguments being advanced here. I would also like to thank Paul Tozy for reading through the initial draft of the text and for making some very helpful comments. Special heartfelt thanks goes to the superb editorial team at Fons Vitae, Gray Henry, Neville Blackmore, Eli Brown, Ann Ogden, Valerie Turner, and Uzma Husseini, all of whom worked on this text with both meticulous care and palpable concern. It has been a delight working with such a dedicated group of people. And that is from Riza Shah Kazemi, the main author, Westerham, April 2010.
Okay, yeah, it was a lot said in
Yeah.
that. It was a lot said in that.
Yeah.
He praised God. You know, he praised God for the fertile ground. He said, cultivate a man's fertile ground. But you know, hold
Mm-hmm.
on. um,
Bless you.
yeah, thank you. But you know, is is one of the things that you know, is going to be controversial. You know, it's going to be controversial. We're not saying that we know all the answers. I'm not saying I know all the answers. You know, but I'm saying um um a fertile ground. I can tell you, driving even our initiative is no matter what we come from humanity, even the Muslim, we believe that we come from the same soil. We come from we all come from Adam. I'm not really versed in how the Buddhists would take this. I'm not really versed with how they would take that. So if Jen wants to, when I'm done, Jen wants to comment on it, she can tell me how Buddhists would take it. But at least I can say from a Muslim perspective, if anything, we know that we all come from one Adam, one Eve. You know what I'm saying? Who was taken from the ground. You understand? And was made by God. So no matter what, we have a common ground as human beings first and foremost. So that's always a reason to engage in this pursuit. And that's
Yeah,
what we
exactly.
decide.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like we're one consciousness, you know. So where our consciousness is not like it, it is not individual. It doesn't, you know, it's not a part of self. So we do believe in the dependence of all beings and um dependent origination. So we're all independent of each other. Or, I'm sorry, we're all dependent of each other as humans to survive. You know, so there's definitely ground to be found, and without people around you, like sometimes they determine whether you live or die. So like we're all dependent on everything. We're dependent on this earth, like we're dependent on oxygen together, so of course, like part of humanity, like we all ensure our the safety of each other. So yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that, and it's great that you said it because even in Islam, we know that the Prophet, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings. Let me speak because I want to make sure everybody is good. Yeah. Even in Islam, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, he taught us that Islam was helping us here. Meaning it was sincere advice. You know what I'm saying? So sincere advice. He explains to sincere advice to who is for God and the people and the prophets and the leaders of the Muslims. But we put it in a deeper level. I mean, sincere advice touches everybody because when you give everybody sincere advice, you know, and everybody can talk. Like even sort of Asher says, "Wala sir inna lisan la fi ghadab illa ladina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr."
Pelu, your
Like,
mic is doing that. um
yeah. Hello, can you hear me now?
yeah, that's better. Stay right
Okay.
there
Yeah.
wherever
Oh, yeah. Because I gotta make it close to my mouth. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Even in Islam, we know the Prophet, peace and blessing upon him, said Islam is nasiha, sincere advice, and we know, we know that even in the Holy Quran of God, it says, sort of says, "Wala sir, inna lisana la fi kharas, illa ladina aminu wa amilu salihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr." And that's the tawsiyah. That's a recommendation. It tells us that we should be recommending each other to good and bad, and if not, humanity destroys. So what I tell you, that means humanity is one person because it's incumbent upon us to tell each other the better things. So it's incumbent upon us to have ethical humanitarian discourse, no matter who we are. You know what I'm saying? And even and back to what Jen said about the one country, even the time Islam has come from Nafsi Wahida. Nafsi Mawahida meaning one soul. Humanity come from one soul. So I mean, I see the parallels, and I know it's controversial, but I see the parallels,
hmm
and it's good for us to talk about these things. Okay, let's go.
all right. All right. So part one, setting the scene. This monograph explores the common ground shared by Islam and Buddhism in the domains of spirituality and morality. What is put forward here is a series of reflections in which we've attempted to interpret some central principles of Buddhism in the light of Islamic spirituality, doing so in a manner which we hope will nourish a spirit of mutual understanding and enriching dialogue between the adherents of the two faiths. So he's basically saying that he's going to be looking at the principles of Buddhism from a Islamic kind of stance. Um, Through this dialogue, some of the affinities between the two traditions might be brought to the fore and used as the basis for enhancing mutual respect between Muslims and Buddhists. However great and indeed irreducible be the differences between the two traditions on the level of formal doctrine, or ritual practice, and spiritual style, there does appear to be much in the way of spiritual and ethical affinity between the two traditions. So even the author is saying that he's aware that there are irreducible differences, but this is
Yep.
the book is attempting to find some similarities.
And using the same language that we're using. See, we remember I said I'm pursuing this to for the fostering of ethical humanitarian discourse. We're using
Hmm.
the same ethical affinity between the two traditions. So yeah,
Yeah,
so I mean
exactly. Yep.
that's our goal is to find the ethical, as this author would say, the ethical affinity between the two traditions. That's our goal is to find it at the end because we believe that no matter what we're humans, we have the ethical discourse, and we should be able to have this discourse despite even our differences. Now, do I know that for a fact? I don't know everything for a fact, but that's exactly what we can't have this.
Right. Okay. These affinities, we argue, reveal a common ground which would remain hidden if we were to restrict ourselves to a comparative analysis of dogma and ritual. Such an analysis would highlight instead the vast differences between the two traditions. The affinities to which we draw attention here are not, however, intended to obscure the differences. On the contrary, we start from the premise that these differences should be unabashedly asserted as expressions of the uniqueness of each religion and not tacitly denied, tactically tacit.
Test. Okay. 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 Enough. Score the difference. Express the uniqueness of each religion, and not tacitly denied, in the quest for spiritual commonality. So let me get it from there. Let me get it. Okay. The affinities to which we draw attention here are not, however, intended to obscure differences. On the contrary, we start from the premise that these differences should be unabashedly asserted as expressions of the uniqueness of each religion, and not tacitly denied in the quest for spiritual commonality.
Right.
Differences and distinctness of religious forms are thus to be respected, possibly even celebrated, rather than wish the way out of out of
Ecumenical.
ecumenical polities. Or I hadn't even heard those words before. Polities. That's
Right.
like super political talk. That's like being real political. That's like being real polities. I never even heard that word. I never
Yeah.
heard that word being used before. I assume I could assume what it means by the context, but I never actually heard that word being used.
So
It's almost like legally.
ecumenical means
No. I heard
promoting.
ecumenical. I know ecumenical is
Oh, I
polities.
know.
I know ecumenical means between religions or between churches or between different sets of
Promoting
confessions.
or relating to unity among the world's Christian churches.
Yeah. But
Okay. So
that's the original meaning. That's the original meaning, right? Right. It originally was something between Christian churches, but some people use it more broadly now. You understand? It originally had one type of meaning, but it used more broadly the word ecumenical. Used
okay,
more
so
broadly the word.
polites or politis means formal politeness or etiquette. So that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
However, in this essay, we're not concerned so much with the differences between the two, which are self evident, but with spiritual infinities, conceptual resonances, and common aspirations, which are not.
Yeah, spiritual affinities, conceptual resonance. Yep, and that's how we. That's the analogies that we're deriving. That's all conceptual resonance. That's what I'm saying. Certain things sound like certain things. Like when Jen said we all came from one consciousness, I it resonated to me with the Islamic sense of us coming from Nafsu Wahida, meaning one soul. And to me, it was a resonance. Now, some people might disagree, but to me, it was. I personally seen, I saw, I felt I felt a conceptual resonance in in
Mhm.
in 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 in, in that in that, and I seen it as you know, and I seen it yeah, some yeah, okay, and I seen it as not only commonality, yeah, yeah, because oh yeah, as not only for commonality, but I seen it as 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 a common aspiration too. I think all commonalities in religion are common aspirations, but I think religion is aspirational in, by its very nature. You know what I'm saying? Aspirational by its very nature. Hey, yeah, what's up, everybody? What's up? I see you, everybody. Hey, I'm not gonna shout at everybody by name because I don't want to leave anybody out. But I see y'all. I'm really happy y'all out there. I'm really happy y'all out there. All right.
Okay. Beyond the letter to the spirit, our aim in this dialogue is to be as inclusive as possible, both as regards the other as regards our own and as regards our own tradition. This means that we are not just reaching out to Buddhists, inviting them to consider the Islamic tradition from the perspectives offered here. It also means that we wish to explain some central concepts of Buddhism to Muslims who may not be familiar with this tradition and are interested in increasing their knowledge of it. Given that our intention to be inclusive, we will aim to base discussion as much as possible on the verses of the Holy Quran and the authenticated sayings of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him and his family, while while plumbing some of the deeper, unarticulated implications of commonly held ideas and practices. For it is in this process of exploring the spiritual dynamics underlying fundamental tenets of belief that some of the most striking analogies and affinities between the two faiths are revealed. We are aiming here at the commonalities on the level of the spirit of the two traditions rather than pretending that any unity on the level of the letter of formal dogmas can be achieved. It would be a mistake to compare Buddhist doctrine to the Islamic creed as if the two were situated on the same plane of thought, because they are not. The dogmas in Islam play a very different role within the configuration of Islamic thought and praxis from that played by the doctrines of Buddhism within the Buddhist traditions. Indeed, doctrines play different roles even within the diverse Buddhist traditions themselves. What doctrine means for a Zen Buddhist is very different from what it means for a Theravadan Buddhist, which is
Hello,
true.
hello, hello. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so doctor. Explain it, because okay, explain that part, and then I'll explain what I want to explain. Explain that.
So yeah. So Buddhism doesn't. Um, okay. So the doctrine would be like comparing the Pali Canon to the Holy Quran, which it's not comparable because the the Pali Canon is a collection. It's not a story. It doesn't read like from front to back. There's no timeline or anything. It's a collection of teachings, and
Hey, but so does the Quran. The Quran is let me make sure I'm close to the mic. Yes, but so does the Quran. So does the Quran. If you think about it, because even the Quran is not in any type of order. You know that, right? The Quran is not in order. It's only order from longest surahs to shortest surahs. So it's a collection of surahs. So
I thought it
so why?
was written chronologically as it was
No,
revealed.
it was not written chronologically. It's not written chronologically. No, it's not ordered. It's not ordered chronologically. In the book, whenever they have in the physical script, the Quran is not ordered. It's not ordered. Even if it's not physical, the Quran has a certain ordering, and it's not ordered chronologically. No, the Quran is not ordered chronologically.
Oh, okay.
It's
Oh, I
not.
didn't
It's not.
know that.
It's not ordered chronologically.
I thought it was like from the beginning, like a more, not like a storybook, but like, yeah, like from the earliest to the latest
No, it's not.
teachings.
It's not like that. I mean, if you wanna arrange it chronologically, there's people who have arranged it chronologically, but it in a standard canonized form is not chronological. In the standard canonical form, the Quran is not a chronological book. A matter of fact, a lot of the earlier surahs, the Meccan surahs, are towards the back, and a lot of the later surahs are towards the front. It's not chronological at all. It doesn't have a chronological order to it. I mean, the loose. The only way you could say that is that more Meccan surahs are shorter than Medinan surahs. That's the only way you could kind of say that, but that still doesn't make it chronological. So it's not really written chronologically at all neither.
Okay. All right. So it's similar then, I guess, in the fact that our Pali Canon is arranged by length, as like teachings by length as well. So
That's very similar. I didn't know that. You see, we learned something new.
yeah,
We both learned that. I didn't. So the polycan is also arranged by length.
yeah.
Oh my god,
There's the long discourses, the medium discourses, the short discourses. Um, yeah, it's
that's the same as the Quran. That's the same way the Quran is done. It's done by in length. It's done by length. The longer ones are towards the front. The shorter ones are towards the back. And the middle ones in the middle is the middle length. Yes, that's how the Quran is organized as well too. The surahs are like the discourse. Every surah means every surah is a discourse. Yes. Every
yeah,
story is a discourse. So every discourse is so yeah. Every story is a discourse, but it's ranged from long to long discourses all the way to the short discourses.
right. So there,
It's kalam. The whole book is kalam. We call the whole book the kalam, meaning the discourse.
yeah. So this is like the Tripitaka, or what the or Tipitaka they use for the Pali Canon. Um, it means three baskets. So like this is like the three sections. So it's like basket of discourses, and then there's the law, like they call it the Vinaya. Um, that's like all the laws for monks and stuff. But yeah, there's 8,222 that have been translated into English, and not all of them even have been translated. And then the Abhidhamma is the last basket, which is like shorter, kind of um, very short, like just paragraphs and stuff like that. But
And
yeah, it
and
goes from
and
longest.
who wrote the Pali Canon? Is this all Buddha himself?
Well, so it was oral recitation. So all of these suttas were memorized by monks and repeated because they're very poetic. Um, so they were all memorized, and that was the jobs of certain monasteries to remember all of the teachings that he was saying as he said them. So then they were written. um I think it was
So
maybe
basically,
like a couple hundred years.
so basically, your Pali Canon is both like a Quran and Hadith and Hadith corpus put together in a way.
Yeah, it would be everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it'll be
most,
everything. Yeah, it'll be the whole. It'll be your whole body of scripture. It'll be like the Quran and the Hadith and the Hadith corpus put together. That's what it'll kind of be like, right? The Pali Canon. That's what it kind of be. And but the thing about it, it's still interesting. You know why it's interesting? Because exactly how you said how it was ordered by links, right? That's interesting,
yeah,
right? That's an
yeah.
interesting
The,
similarity.
the
And
Diga comes first. Those are the
you
long
know, and that's
discourses.
it. And the same way with the Islamic ones, the longer surahs are up front. Like Baqarah is the longer surah. That's number two. Of course, Al Fatiha is number one. That's a short surah, but that's the number one. But from number two, from surah number two, the trend is that it goes downwards in length all the
Oh,
way to the final surahs. So
oh,
it's a similar thing that's going on with ordering the canon by length of each section of discourse. It's the
yep,
same thing. That's similar. The other thing similar is that people memorize it, right? Even us, people memorize. We become hafizes. People used to
yeah,
memorize. Matter of fact, to be a real scholar back in the day, people used to say they used supposed to memorize at least like 200,000 hadiths, and also they're trained the chains of transmission. You supposed to be back in those ancient days. I mean, I don't know how much people really did it that hard back in the day, but that's what is always said about those people in those days. They were memorizing huge amounts of hadith and huge amounts of everything with their chains of and transmission. So it was a very similar thing happening in the Quran. You know, with the Quran early, I mean, it's
Your
still.
mic, bro. Your mic.
Yeah, hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yep. Yep.
Even though we wrote the Quran early, I mean, even though we put it down early, it still wasn't right away. Like it took like until like Uthman and them to finally compile the Quran, if I'm not mistaken. If somebody knows exactly when they compiled the Quran,
Yeah.
tell me. But if I'm wrong, but it started, but it wasn't finally
Uthman,
completed until the
right?
time of Uthman. What?
Yeah. Uthman compiled
Yeah, yeah,
it.
yeah, yep. It was compiled within the time of Uthman, right? So before that, it was all memorized. You understand? Don't
Right.
get me wrong, there was written they were writing it in pieces, right? But that's when it was compiled, right? That's when it was finally compiled. But
Yes. They
but
compiled this in Sri Lanka. Like they had a big like a huge like collection of like a huge thing where they called everybody to compile it, after so that's it's very
so it's
similar.
a lot of similarities in just their in their development as a system there's we could see similarities in their systematic development.
Hmm.
Yeah, we can see things in the systematic development.
Right, right. So the Pali Canon is supposed to be the earliest written works. So the things like like Tibetan Buddhism and Mahayana, the Chinese version, and by the time it got to Japan and Korea with Zen, and it did pick up a lot of cultural aspects, and there was like things Mahayana's got a hold. They have additional suttas that some people don't even really think that they're valid. They're supposed to be like the Nagas, like that lived under the water, held them until a certain time, and then released the Mahi. So it's kind of like some people don't really consider them canon, but some Mahayanas do. They obviously consider their stuff canon, but so yeah, so that's what they mean when it says doctrine for Zen might be very different than Theravada.
Yeah, yeah, but no. But I want to talk about that might be one thing, but I think he's talking about more than that, and I don't necessarily agree with him. I'm gonna tell you what I don't think. He's trying to say is this, right? He was trying to say that it would be a mistake to compare Buddhist doctrine to the creed, to the Islamic creed, as if the two were on the same plane of thought, and that's what I disagree with. 'Cause I think, well, I think that's controversial. I think everything must have the same objective analytical way to say it. If we're going to call it a religion, they call it on the same. Because look, if they're not on the same plane, well, why are we even discussing them as two different things to find common ground on? You know what I'm saying? If they're not on the same plane, what common ground is there to be found? If they're not even on the same plane, so we got to see if they're on the same plane and yeah, so I'm questioning that. I don't know the answer completely, but I'm questioning if that's how we should analyze, or that's how we should go about finding common ground between Islam and Buddhism. If we behave is not on the common, is not on the same plane. So that means I mean, how valid is the discussion if it's not on the same plane? You know what I'm saying? I mean that's I'm kind of questioning that notion.
Well, what comes to mind for me is that I think your claim of the Quran being a divine revelation versus like Buddha was a man and this is his teachings. You know what I'm saying? That like he was self like enlightened, not like eh, I think that's probably the biggest why he said that they're not on the same plane of thought, because yours is supposed to be um revealed by God, you know So maybe that's what he means. Like maybe
No, but
that's
he
why he
also
said
said doctrine.
dog.
He also said doctrine and dogma. I mean the doctrine and the Buddhist doctrine and the Islamic creed. So saying art, the dogmas in Islam play a different role in the configuration and practice than the doctrines of Buddhism. Within the Buddha, because look, see, he calls the dogmas of Islam dogma, and he calls he just uses the word doctrine for Buddhism. So he's trying to say that we have more. What are you trying to say? I'm trying to figure out what he's trying to say because it's like, okay, you're saying they don't have dogma, or hold
Yeah, maybe he's saying
on.
Islam is more dogmatic.
Yeah, but then how is Buddhism a religion then? Then is Buddhism really a religion? Okay, are both religions? If both are religions, if we don't call both things religions, right? Isn't a
Mm.
religion a plane of thought? Isn't the plane of thought the religious, right? So isn't that the plane of thought we should be finding common ground as? Isn't I mean, what more plane of thought you need than them two being religions?
Right, right.
So
And it just means a
that's what I'm
principle or
questioning here.
set of principles laid down by an authority as incontrovertibly true. That's
But
what
you have the noble truths. You have noble truths too. You have dogma.
do.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Mm,
I don't agree with the notion that he put forth. Because if
okay.
we're going to talk about both of things being religions, they're on the same plane as a religion,
Mm.
and they should
Well, I
be
think he
analyzed.
gets into it.
I'm not saying one is both of them are correct. All I'm saying is that the way we should analyze them, we should analyze both as religions and what are their religious values.
Yeah, so I think this next verse gets into it. Let's see what this says. So it says, however, if we start by making a distinction between the doctrinal creed or akida of Islam and the spiritual wisdom, marifa, nourished within its framework, we may come closer to appreciating the ways in which the two traditions might be compared. Marifa pertains to the subtleties of the heart, sub,
The subtleties.
subtleties of
The
the
subtleties,
heart.
Marifa. Marifa. Okay, for everybody, let me talk about Marifa and Akida real quick. Marifa means the spiritual knowledge. It comes from the word arif, and it can mean knowledge. Earth, it means like knowledge, like basic cultural knowledge or like instinctual knowledge in a way, but cultural knowledge like earth. It means like cultural, but it means like things learned, not like taught academically, but the finer things that you learn in life, and that's what Marifa is. Is a finer enlightenment you learn in life. And Akida means creed. It means like to tie. It means to bind, and that's what binds Islam. And of course, even in Islam, there are different akidas. Different, people disagree in akidas, and that's why you have people with different labels within the realm or within the realm of Islam. You have people call themselves people call themselves there's people call themselves Hello Hawk Wali Kama. Hello Kama, my people call themselves, yeah, people call themselves Hello Sunnah
Your
Wal
mic,
Jamaa.
girl.
Hello, yeah. I say yeah. In the Islamic world, right? That's why you have different people with different akidas. Like you have the people call themselves Al Haq Walis Takama. That's my people. They also
Mhm.
call ibadis. You have people call themselves Al Sunnah Wal Jamaa. That's more commonly known as Sunnism or Sunnis, and there are people called the Shiat al Ali. That's more commonly known as Shias. And all these different all these different doctrinal communities, all these different doctrinal communities within the Islamic sphere of thought. They all have they have different akidas. You understand? Like their akida is different. So we have different akidas in Islam. So I just want to introduce people to the topic of akida and marifa. Thank you. Keep going.
Mm. Okay. All right. So marifa pertains to subtleties of the heart, to into inward contemplative states, to mystical experience. Akida pertains to the beliefs which form the basis of salvation in the hereafter, and at the same time serve as the foundation and framework for those spiritual experiences in this world. Most, if not all, of the Buddha's teachings should in fact be situated on the level of what is called marifa in Islam and not on that of akida. If we focus on this dimension of spiritual wisdom, then the correspondences between his teachings and the spirit of the Islamic tradition will come into view. Since the doctrines expounding the dimension of Marifa in Islam are in complete harmony with the essential sources of the Islamic revelation. Since the doctrines are expounding the dimension,
Yeah, yeah,
expound
yeah. Okay, okay.
complete
Okay.
harmony with the
Wait,
essential
wait.
sources.
Let me. So where we at? We at the part pretending. Okay, okay. So however, you see, and that's where I disagree with him on these things because I mean I disagree with him making a sharp distinction between the Marifa and Akita because the Akita you can't have the Marifa without the Akita because Marifa doesn't have a structure without Akita. We can't even talk about Akita gives Marifa a language you can even talk about. You understand? You can't talk about it. I mean, okay, put it like this: Akita is the outpouring of Marifa, is the communication of the Marifa is your Akita. You understand? You communicating. You need a vessel to communicate your the gains the entertainments you've made. Your kalam, your word, your dawa, your loving kindness, your total expression, right? Your total expression, your marifa, your marifa also means the way you act, right? Because it also has the root word of the word ta'aruf, meaning how you treat each other, getting to know each other, like the good treatment of people, right? The inner knowledge of how to treat people and live together in harmony is communicated through akida. So
Mm,
it's like to me I think that's a weak dichotomy. A lot don't get me wrong, a lot of people try to do that. They try to make a sharp distinction between the exoteric and the esoteric, but they don't know that these things are together because some people try to and that's a problem. That's what makes esoteric so hard because some people don't think some people that I think the exoteric is harder when you separate from the esoteric. The outer actually becomes easy if you connect to the esoteric, if you know they're all together. But when you try to separate them, it makes the law, it makes everything hard. So I don't necessarily agree with that way of thinking because it makes the law hard. Let me ask let me go to Anon real quick in the chat. Anon, he said, Mr. Pelu, because Anon, for everybody, Anon's one of our guys, and he helps us prep a lot. He just prepped the system for us. He's a good guy. He's prepping the system for us. Okay. He said, Mr. Pelu, would you say that religion is the second highest heaven? The
your
high,
mic.
yeah, yeah. Okay, hello. Yeah, okay, hello.
Hmm.
You can hear me, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Anon said, Mr. Pelu, would you say that religion is the second highest heaven, with the highest heaven being beyond religion or marifa? That is the problem that I think that the distinction of marifa and akida have. I think you can't have it without the other. You can't communicate without the other. It's the same thing. To me, it's two sides of the same coin. I don't think of it as levels. I think of it as two sides of the same coin. You understand? I think the esoteric and exoteric is two sides of the same coin. That's my way of looking at religion. And then next, add-on said, or religion might be in heavens 1 through 6. In Islamic partners, it might be, but it's inner and outer. I see where you're going. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, but I think that what I'm trying to say is that I think the language, the religion from that Kita, if you talk about religion, right? I think that Kita is just the language. It's a language. The law is a language. It's a spiritual language that we use to communicate. And a lot of people don't know it. It's really what it is. It's a communication. So I think the community. I mean, we might move beyond communication. We just speak frankly. I mean, that's what you want to say. Maybe I don't have all the answers. You might be able to move beyond this move and just have a second connection that has no way of that has no way of communicating just on such a level that we have no ego or no individuality. It might be that way. I don't know how the highest level is. And that's a good question. 'Cause I really don't know how the highest state it is. I probably haven't achieved the highest state. I don't know what the highest state is to attain and to get at, and because that's kind of thing you got to be there to know it. You know what I'm saying? That type of level you got to be there to know it. You know what I'm saying? So, uh,
Yeah.
um,
So what Stanley Cross, I don't know what your question is referring to, is what like Psalms, and then Carter says code of conducts equals Akita, no?
yep, he's right.
Okay.
Carter, you're exactly right. Akita is a code. Akita means your code. Everybody have a different code. Like our code, the code of Halal Istakama is different than the code of Al Sunnah wa Jamaat. Alakwa is a code. We have two different codes. We're running on two different codes. The Shia code is different, and then even within Shiaism, you have the 5 verse 7 and the 12 verse have different codes. Everybody got a different code. You know what I'm saying? So our code is different. That's why you see the friction because we're running on two different systems. We're running on different codes. Yep, exactly. That's what Akita is. Akita is code. Perfect.
Cool.
Perfect. I'm gonna say it better.
All right. Um, okay, so I'll just start that sentence over again. Since the doctrines expounding the dimensions of Marifa in Islam are in complete harmony with the essential sources of the Islamic revelation, the Quran and prophetic Sunnah, which upon which they are but commentaries and elaborations, it follows that making an effort to understand Buddhist doctrine in light of Islamic spirituality helps us to see the underlying common ground between Buddhism and the Islamic tradition per se, and not just between Buddhism and Islamic spirituality. Okay.
Yeah, you
Thus,
see. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say. See, because
yeah,
that's why I say that's why I disagree with his thinking because now he's trying to connect this tradition and the thing, but then he's trying to only talk about the Marifa and try to see so you see where I have the issue a little bit with I have an issue a little bit with how we trying to with how he's making the point. Anyway, continue.
okay. Thus, the affinities revealed on the level of the spirit will inevitably have some impact on our perception of the gap separating the two faiths on the level of formal dogma. See, why does he keep throwing that in there? Thus, the affinities revealed on the
Yeah,
spirit will inevitably have some impact on our perception of the gap separating the two faiths on the level of formal dogma. But see, like, if I like the way there is a Buddhist Akita, there's a Buddhist code, there is, you
that's what I'm
know,
saying. He's wrong. That's exactly
rules of things to
exactly what
live
I'm
by.
saying.
Like,
That's
yeah,
exactly what I'm
there's,
saying. That's why I said I didn't agree with him. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, but I'm sorry to be all
yeah,
to be whatever.
no, I
But
don't
but
agree.
but
I don't agree
yeah,
with him either.
I don't agree with how he's presenting the case. I don't agree with the way he's
Yeah.
presenting the case.
So the gap will remain, but will render the two traditions less incommensurable, giving the correspondence and resonances glimpsed or
Uh,
intuited on
yeah,
the
yeah,
level
intuitive. Yeah,
of the
intuitive.
spirit.
Okay, so the gap will remain, but render the two traditions less incommensurable. I think that means less not being able to come together, right? It means not less. You could get that word.
Not able to be judged by the same standard as something, having no common standard of measurement.
And that's why I disagree because I think they both could be looked at as on the one standard of religion. You understand? And if they're both religions, it's, his point is weak because I'm trying to say like he's trying to make a point that's not really there to me. He's trying to make distinctions that are not necessarily natural to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To
I
me,
mean, so he's saying that, like, he wants to, like, okay, so, like, I've even used this before, like, you can't judge Buddhism from an Islamic, like, standpoint, or you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the two religions do have fundamental, like, differences, right? Like, when it comes to God. So, like, this is what I try to say to, like, this guy, why so religious? Like, he does that. Like, he holds, like, Buddhist rules to Islamic rules, and it doesn't always work like that. So, okay, so this guy's trying to
no, but see, but I don't think that's
lessen
the best
that.
way to look. I don't think that's the best way to look at things. I don't think that's the best way to look at things from the get go. Because see, and you see how he was making the case. It didn't make sense because see, when you start doing that, you start. Look, I'm gonna tell you the danger, right? Like it's gonna be like what he does. Like he's not because now since he starts doing that, he starts to take away Buddhist dogma, take away every. You're trying to say he's taking away the internal forces of Buddhism or negating the quality of Akita is like what I'm trying to say is that as a religion, as the term religion unites both of them objectively on a plane of analysis by calling both of them religions. If we're gonna call Buddhism a religion, we have that right there gives it the plane of the the analytical plane to compare it to Islam. If you want to be objective, if you're going to call both of them religions,
Right, right.
so that's why I don't agree with that outlook.
Yeah, I don't really either. Okay. So, in strictly theological terms, then, it's clear that the two traditions diverge radically, and any attempt to force some convergence on this plane is bound to fail. To begin with, it's arguable whether one can even speak about a formal discipline of theology, knowledge of God, within Buddhism, whereas Islam, however great be the diversity of different schools of theology, there is an identifiable core of beliefs about God which all of these schools can easily identify.
And that's
However,
controversial too. That's controversial too. That's controversial because
okay,
Akida is a fundamental relationship you have to God, and because our Akidas are different, no matter how you slice it, that's a controversial statement because our Akidas are so different. We don't all have the same Akida.
right, right.
So that's DC. So I disagree.
I
I
think the
disagree.
base is like what?
No,
Let
I
me
think
see.
okay. We call it the same thing. Okay, we call it basically the same thing. We all say we're following Islam. We all say we're following Tawheed. But how we just, but how we just, but how we relate Tawheed to our religion is different. It can be
Yeah,
very different. So
yeah,
the Akidas are these are two differences. We have unavoidable differences in Akida that cannot be reconciled.
right. I
So
think for this, I think in this, like you say in strictly theological terms. Hold on one second. So I think that's what he's meaning, like in strictly theological terms.
no, and
Just to
that's what I'm
believe
saying.
in one
In
God.
strictly in strictly theological terms, we have different Akidas. Akida is the expounding of theology.
Mm, okay. All
So
right.
yeah, so yeah, so I'm saying. I'm just saying. I have I'm raising red flags. I have my reservations against a lot of the points he's making. I'm just putting it up. I'm not trying to judge for everybody. Everybody hears the conversation. Everyone make your own decision. But I'm trying to say that I definitely can say right now at first hearing what he's saying, I I'm in a point of disagreement from first hearing what he's saying. He might make a I don't know the case he's gonna make further in the book, but I disagree with how he's coming into it. I do personally stating that I disagree with that. But hey, it's a perspective. It's a perspective. We're gonna put it out there. Let's see how he defends it.
All right. One second. Let me take care of something in the chat real quick, man. Yeah, we're not gonna call nobody fat. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's leave that shit alone, man. This isn't what we're doing here tonight, man. If you can't be respectful, then get the fuck on. Um,
Jan, I'll ask you
Sorry,
don't swear
swearing.
too,
I know. I'm sorry. My
only
bad. My
because
bad.
I'm
I
trying to
know.
finish with people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. Um, where was I at? I did. Okay. Okay. There's an identifiable core of beliefs about God with which all of these schools can. Okay, that's right. However, it's possible to speak about the ultimate reality without doing so from a theological perspective. Theology, in the strict sense of knowledge of God, will be unavoidable, but it will not be scholastic, but mystical theology with which we shall engage.
And and
If
and, and that's my issue. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but yeah, that's my issue. Why is he? What? How is he? How is he? Why is he separating mystical from scholastic? Like you're supposed to study we're supposed to study these things. What I'm trying to say is that it's not. I don't see a distinction. Theology is theology. If it's true, it's true. We're dealing with ultimate reality. So whatever is true, when you do ultimate reality, if it's true, it's true. And if it's mystical, it's mystical. But even mysticalness, even mysticism is a study. You know what I'm trying to say? It's a scholastic. We study we study Isan in Islam. We study Isan. Isan is part of your study. Like all your study should have the beauty and the nuances of Islam in it. We study the nuances as well. What you might call mysteries, we study the nuances, the what's in between the lines. Those things are part of our study. So so this the distinction again, the distinction that he keeps making with esoteric and exoteric, to me is it's to me I find it problematic. The hard distinctions he's making between the outer and inner, because the ones to me the two sides of the same coin to me. Hey,
Yeah, I think it can, because things can definitely be both. Like, you could be both exoteric and esoteric at the same time. Like, all right, so if one's focus is on the spiritual domain, a common ground may well be discovered, even on the highest planes, dealing with God, the absolute, or the ultimate reality. Such a spiritual affinity, indeed, will be the more striking against the backdrop of theological incompatibility. It might be asked from an Islamic point of view whether we are justified in attempting to go beyond or to bracket out formal theology in the name of spirituality, metaphysics, or mysticism. We would respond with the words of one of the greatest spiritual authorities of Islam, whom we shall cite extensively in this essay, the great renewer, Mujaddid
yeah, Mujahid, yeah,
of his
Mujahid, yeah,
age, Abu Hamid al Ghazali. Do you know who
yeah,
that guy is?
yeah. Abu Ahmed Al Ghazali, yes.
Okay.
Abu Hamid Al Ghazali is one of the great scholars in the Sunni tradition.
Okay.
He's one who the Sunnis will call the proof of Islam. They'll call him the proof of some of the Sunnis, not all of them. The ones who like him will call him the proof of Islam, right?
Okay.
And
So
he's the one who basically is responsible for in the Sunni world the bringing together of the Sufi and traditional and traditional for lack of a better word, traditional dogmatic for lack of a better word, I don't know what dogmatic, but traditional dogmatic of Sunnism, bringing them together and to form a mutual respect and a new way forward for Sunnism. He's accredited with a lot of he's accredited with crystallizing that in his in his scholarly book. He's accredited a lot in some of the Sunni circles, in the majority, especially the Asherite and Hanafi, groups. You know what I'm saying? It's not so much with the Wahhabis or Ansari groups. Yeah. So yeah, especially he's credited with merging the Sufi and traditional Sharia Akida scholarship within the Sunni world. We would merge them together and making them respectable parts of each other. Within a lot of the Sunni world, especially from the Asherite and the Maturidi positions, right? And not so much on the Atari or the Atari position that most people the guy is Ibn Taymiyyah, right? But
your mic, bro.
yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Ibn Taymiyyah, their guy is Ibn Taymiyyah. But yeah, if you from the Atari position, but in the Ashari and the Hanafi, in the Ashari and the Maturidi, uh, um, 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 Al Ghazali is accredited with a lot of things. They call him the proof of Islam, and they say he's a renewal. So yeah, and yeah, that's about Al Ghazali.
Hmm. Actually, yeah, you did say something slanderous, and I'd like to, if you could please, refrain and with your little sarcastic things. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about a statue here. We're talking about the teachings of one of the greatest teachers of all times, which millions of people still follow to this day. So, yeah, can we leave all that out of this chat? You know what I'm saying? Um, all right. So, yeah. All right, so it might be asked, okay, from an Islamic point of view, whether we're justified in attempting to go beyond or to bracket out formal theology in the name of spirituality, metaphysics, or mysticism. We would respond, okay, I read that. With the great essay, The Science of Theology, or Kalam, he says, is restricted in its scope to the outward aspects of the formal creed or Al Qaeda. It cannot attain spiritual knowledge of God, his qualities, and his acts.
Okay, keep reading, keep reading. Hello,
Okay.
his
Yeah,
qualities
yeah, I
and
was
his acts.
just
Yeah.
trying to. Okay. Theology, he argues, is in fact more like a veil obscuring this knowledge. The only way to attain the spiritual knowledge is through inner effort, mujahada, which God has
Yeah,
established
Mujahid.
as the prelude to integral guidance.
And that, see, I totally disagree with this. I totally disagree. This is what Al Ghazali said. I totally, but that's a Sunni. He's from the Sunni perspective. I totally disagree with everything he's saying.
So you
Wow.
don't think that the way to attain spiritual knowledge is through inner effort and not just reading pages, like you have to
No,
put
which
inner
you mean? No, no. What I'm trying to say is that the formation of Akida is an effort, is a mujahida. The formation of Akida is mujahida, is jihad. Yes, I'm saying they're not separated. He's separating the two. The formation of Akida is mujahida.
Hmm.
It takes ijtihad. It takes ijtihad. See, look. See, I'm gonna tell you a funny other thing he did. Right? He's also responsible for saying this is what he's responsible for in the Sunni war. He's supposed to be the one who said the doors of ijtihad are closed. He said the doors of ijtihad. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't understand all of Aqida's ijtihad, and no matter what. So he's the one who closed ijtihad for the Sunni world. That's why Sunnism is called for Sunnism to reform because they say not supposed they no longer have ijtihad. Of course, the Salafis now are coming back and saying yes, we do have ijtihad, and they're pushing ijtihad in the Sunnism, right? Which it never should have been closed for a beginning, but now old wounds are opening up. But yeah, I totally disagree with that because formation of Akida is Mujahida. To me, it's I know it to be Mujahida in a Hakwa is a comma. It's Mujahida. Theology is Mujahida. Understanding theology is Mujahida. Expressing theology is Mujahida. Knowing things is Mujahida because that's all part of your way of communicating and doing dawah for the religion. There's no dawah without jihad.
Hmm.
To me, there's no dawah. Dawah and jihad are two sides of the same coin.
Okay. So, in his famous autobiographical work, Al Munkid Min Al Dalal, the deliverer from error,
Yeah, delivered from error. Yeah, yeah,
he,
because the halal is error. The halal is error. Yep.
okay, he is even more explicit about the fact that the surest path to the truth is the mystical one. I learnt with certainty that it is above all the mystics who walk in the road of God. Their life is the best life, their method the soundest method, their character the purest character, indeed, were the intellect of the intellectuals, and the learning of the learned, and the scholarship of the scholars, who are versed in the profundities of revealed truth. Brought together in the attempt to improve the life and character of the mystics, they will find no way of doing so. For to the mystics all movement and rest, whether external and internal, brings illumination derived from the light of the lamp of prophetic revelation. Like, I don't even know what that
Yeah, I understand what he's saying, though. I understand what he's saying, but
is.
I disagree with him. I disagree, though. I totally disagree with how he's approaching it. Why is he taking away the intellect from illuminate? Like you can't. What vessel you have to know illumination of the intellect? The intellect is for us. Like oh my God, woo. I mean, we're totally against that view. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna give you thing from us from our Mufti right now. Our Mufti. This is the Mufti of Oman, Sheikh Khalili. I'm gonna give you Sheikh Khalili. Hold on, I put it in the one of our chats. So wait, it's okay. It's in one of your chat when the Muslim spots. I'm gonna get the wait. Where you at? There we go. I put it right. Okay, look, this is what Sheikh Khalili says. This is our Sheikh. This is the Mufti of a man, the current sitting Grand Mufti of a man. He said, "Whoever makes the law of God Almighty the focus of his eyes." And
Your
by the
mic,
way, this,
oh, your
hello,
mic, your
can
mic.
you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is from Sheikh Khalili, the Grand Mufti of Oman, right? And he is the Grand Mufti, is the leading Islamic scholar in Oman, according to the government. This is the government's official consultant on Islamic issues, right? He's the king's official consultant on Islamic issues in Oman, and Oman is the only state that's controlled at a sovereign level um by Allah Akbar. But anyway,
Okay. Was that? Oh, are you there?
can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you hear
now I
me?
can. Yeah,
Oh,
it's like
you couldn't hear me before?
I think it just cut. I think it just cut off. Like, was that it? Were you done reading?
No. Hello. Can you hear what I say now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you gotta hold your mic still or something because it's like going in and out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
okay.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, you can hear me now, right?
All right.
You can hear me now, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, okay. So
Yep. Yep.
the Mufti of Oman says this. The Mufti of Oman says whoever this is from the Mufti of Oman, the leading Islamic scholar in Oman. He said, whoever makes the law of God Almighty the focus of his eyes and the source of his guidance, and does not atone for the blessings of the mind by obscuring it from what it from what it from what it was created for, but rather makes it one of the means for his knowledge. Uh, um, uh, uh, um, for rather makes it one of the means for understanding and realization of the rulings and the rulings contained.
No, you cut off, Mr. Paley. You cut off.
Hello,
So, yeah.
hello.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, okay, never mind. I'm trying to read a thing, but I don't think I could read it and talk at the same time.
Okay, so it says, whoever makes the law of God Almighty the focus of his eyes and the source of his guidance, and does not atone for the blessing of the mind by obstructing it from what it was created for, but rather makes it one of the means for his understanding and realization of the rulings and the rulings contained in the law and the facts and subtleties contained in the revelation, he has won the gatherings of goodness and the complexes of consolation.
Yeah, so you understand that? I mean, okay, it's translated from Google Translate. It's not. It's just it was in Arabic because somebody just translated for me. But you understand what he's saying?
So he's saying that knowing the law is going to bring you closer to God.
Yeah, because it's subtleties in the law. The law, the esoteric and the exoteric are together in our school of thought. They're not separated. You understand? They're in the law. There's light in the law. The law communicates. The law is communicates the light.
Okay. The law is communicates the light.
Yeah, the law communicates the light.
Okay.
The law is the word. Is the word. It communicates the light. Like it communicates it. You need the word. The word is what holds the light. Is what holds the keys to open up the light box.
Right, but if you're just reading the word and you're not putting it into practice, then you're just reading for nothing, right?
But you have to read the word.
Right,
Reading
right.
the
You
word
have
is a
to,
practice.
right.
Hey, one I say reading the word itself is a practice.
Hmm.
Reading the word is a practice. Matter of fact,
Right,
the first commandment in Islam is to read. Ikra.
right, right. But
That's the first commandment.
so if you, that's, but what I'm saying though is like if you're just reading it and you're not doing anything that it says,
You
like,
can't read it and not do it. You can't read. That means you're not really reading it. It's not really the effort. Okay, okay, let's go back to the quote again. Read the quote again slowly, because if I try to move it to the other part of the phone, it cuts
okay.
off. Focus on.
So it
Read it
says,
slowly. Read it slowly. Okay.
Whoever makes the law of God Almighty the focus of his eyes and the source of his guidance, and does not atone for the blessing of the mind by obstructing it from what it was created for.
Yes,
Okay, does
exactly. So
not
because
atone
yeah, what he means by that, because it's a Google Translate. So he means does not like pay it back, does not pay back. So instead of saying atone, say pay back.
okay. So he doesn't pay back for the blessing of the mind
Yes.
by cons by obstructing it, so by
Yeah.
blocking it
Yeah. So he doesn't block his blessings of the mind. You don't. It's like saying don't block your blessings. Your mind is a blessing, and don't block your blessings. Don't block your mind.
from what it was created to do because you
Yes.
believe you're created to worship, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Your
But
mind is part of that worship. Your
mm,
mind is the mind is not only part of worship; is the core of the worship.
okay. Right, because you have to have it in your mind to worship in the first place, right?
Yes.
Okay. But rather makes it one of the means for his understanding and realization of the rulings.
Yes. Of what goes on, the Sharia, the rulings, the Akam. That means his destiny. To make a long story short, the rulings as a whole, Akam, is the destiny of mankind. His destiny, mankind's destiny is the destiny because we believe that God already destines everything. So we have to. Our job is to understand what God wants for us in His destiny.
Mm, okay. But rather makes it one of the means for his understanding and realization of the rulings, and the rulings contained in the law, and the facts and subtleties contained in the revelation. He has won the gathering of goodness and the complexes of conciliation.
Yep, yep. You understand that? You understand what he's saying? So he's trying to say that the person, when they have applied their mind to the law, right? They get the
Mhm.
subtleties and they get the complexes of conciliation. So that means you're trying to say that he gets the keys. The complexes is like the packages. It's like he opens the opening the keys of conciliation, basically opening the keys of how to deal of how to reconcile his life to reality and how to deal with and how to deal with the reality that he's presented with in life.
Mm,
You understand? So that's what the law does. That's what the law is. The law communicates all that, and it's your mind's job to apply it, and that's muhai, and that's mujahida. That's an effort.
okay.
You understand? So it's like Al Ghazali is he's these people in the Sunni world, they try to separate the esoteric and esoteric, but we don't. The esoteric and esoteric is totally together with us.
Okay. Yeah, I get it now because that's why like some people they say like they can read or maybe even recite the thing but they don't know what it means. Right? Like it's just like they read it but they don't do anything with it. Like they don't apply it to their life or put the work in to make them better people, right? Like
No,
in
it's
a
not that. What I'm trying to say is that it's more than that. It's a way more than that. It's the esoteric and esoteric is all. I mean, you cannot read it. I mean, that means you're not really. I mean, yes, yeah, okay. If that's the case, the person's not even trying at that point. I mean, it's not a mujahida. If you're really doing the jihad, the esoteric and esoteric are together. It's like man, I
mm,
don't even know. I'm trying to find out how to tell it to you because I thought you understood it, but then the example you gave is a different example. I'm trying to find.
that's all right. Let's go. Maybe he explains it more.
No,
So
no, but I'm trying to say we automatically agree with this. I mean, we automatically disagree. It's so beyond us. But anyway, let's see what he says.
okay. So the mystical or spiritual discipline of Marifa pertains to the domain of ultimate principles, a domain which goes beyond the level of dogmatic theology. So okay, so I think I understand what I see
But I
where
think
he's
he's wrong. I think he's wrong because you cannot have the if it's a dogmatic theology that doesn't have the those principles, right? If okay, if the domain that goes beyond level dogmatic theology. It does not contradict the formal Islam, but rather constitutes the mention. Wait, okay, no, let me see. Okay, where you are? Show me on the mouse where you are.
I'm right here.
Okay, the mystical or spiritual discipline of Marifa pertains to the domain of ultimate principles, a domain which goes beyond the level of dogmatic theology. I totally disagree with that. I'm gonna tell you why. Right? I'm gonna tell you why I totally disagree. Because if you don't have ultimate principles, the ultimate principles are the inner are the glue of the dogmatic theology. If your dogmatic theology is not on ultimate principles, then it's a heresy. You understand? They're the same thing. Like, you can't have ultimate principles in a dogmatic theology if your dogmatic theology is not on the ultimate principles and stuck on the ultimate principle of the first being God. If it's not right, is wrong. I mean. So that means saying their dogma is wrong already. He's already saying that dogma is wrong because it's not on the ultimate principle. He's making a difference between it and the ultimate principle. Therefore, it being heretical. But then again, of course, my school calls their school heretical anyway. That's interesting. And their school
Mm,
calls my school heretical. So yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that even in the writing, it shows the different akidas between me and between me and the author. You know what I'm trying to say? Our
yeah,
akidas are we have contradictory akidas because
right,
I can never say something like that. You know what I'm saying? I can never say that because my akida, my dogmatic theology, and my ultimate principles are totally united. You know what I'm saying? Well,
okay.
but some people make a distinction between that, and I don't say you can make a distinction between that. That means you're wrong because that means you're doing that means you're wrong. To me, that making that type of distinction means you're wrong and you know you're wrong, but you're trying to act like you're not wrong.
It's like you're
It-
just
it-
doing something because you're told to do it, but it doesn't mean anything.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, okay. I get what you're saying now. Okay, yeah, okay. So yeah,
That's what I'm getting from this. Like, so,
and you're right.
like,
You're right. You're
yeah,
right. You're
so
right.
what he's
I get
saying
I
is
get what you're saying
his
now.
dogma is just like the same thing that everybody does, right? But then, like, if you don't have the, I guess, the marifa, which is like the more spiritual connection to it, and is not resonating with your spirit, and you're just doing things because of repetition, like,
But
and
that
it
means if you're doing it like that, that means you didn't have the right dogma to begin with, and you weren't really on Marifa. If you was really on Marifa, your dogma and your Marifa will be totally united.
right,
You live in harmony. You live in harmony. So he's trying to say that he's not in harmony with Islam, but he's trying to but he knows he's not in harmony with Islam, but he's trying to act like he is. It's almost like you know you're wrong, but you want to act like there's nothing wrong with what you know is wrong. It's like cognitive dissonance. It's like a cognitive dissonance. To me,
yeah,
to me,
yeah,
it's cognitive dissonance. I mean, that's the reason I disagree with Al Sunnah wal Jamat, because that's how they are. But beyond, he's expressing the regular Sunni position, but it's so different than how Lawakul Sakama his position. Because to me, that's cognitive dissonance. To us, somebody from my school will say they're heretics because their religion is really just cognitive dissonance, but act like it's not.
mm.
But it is. So yeah. Anyway, I'm just showing you that
All
hey,
right,
it's a tough game. I mean, it's a tough
yeah,
thing, but it's differences in Akida. Even within the Islamic sphere, there's differences within Akida, and yeah, and it's showing right now in the conversation, like because what he's saying is so heretical to me. It's like wow. It's like he's saying some heretics that because to be honest with you though, as much everybody, I don't really get into Sunni works that much because I believe it's heretical, so I don't really even get into the work. So now when I hit it, it's like a culture shock. It's like, wow, I can't believe it goes that bad. But then again, hey, I'm from a different school, so I mean, shout out to anybody watching who might be from whatever school I thought they're from, but
that's all right. All right. Okay, so we're at okay. It does not contradict the formal dogmas of Islam, but rather constitutes their dimension of inner mystical depths and transformative spiritual power, bringing illumination from the light of prophetic revelation. As was stated above, Islamic spirituality does nothing but bring to light the essential nature and deepest meaning of the Islamic revelation. How can you say it does nothing? Like, oh, it don't do nothing
Yeah,
but bring
it doesn't. It doesn't make
the
sense. Yeah,
deepest meaning of the whole revelation. Like, it just is
like,
like,
yeah,
what?
I don't get this guy. I don't get him. But don't get me wrong. I get him. He's coming from a Sunni perspective. But
Okay.
that's kind of why I don't. I can't get down with Sunni perspective on stuff. To me. It's like, what the hell are y'all talking about? I'm sorry for the language. It's like, what are y'all talking about? It's surreal to me how they talk. It's surreal to me. To me, it's surreal. And this is really how they talk though. This is really the way they think, and it's surreal. It's really surreal. I'm like, how like what religion are you really doing? It's almost like
It's just like, it's a lot of like, just, somebody like, it reminds some things like me. Like, you could watch a TV show religiously. Like, I could tell you, my grandmother religiously watched General Hospital and Days of Our Lives every day, and that's what I feel like with some religions. Like, they just do things because it's what you're supposed to do, and that's just, you're just doing it. You know, like, but you don't have your spirit into it. There you don't have that like fulfillment feeling. You know what I'm saying? You're just arguing about text and reading books, like, but I feel like you should be able to, like, read one book and either like it resonates with you on a level or it doesn't, right? Like, I don't.
yeah. So I mean, okay. I want to hear some chats. I want to hear some of the chat things real quick. The Carter. I'm going after knocking Sufis and mystics. I mean, not necessarily Sufis and mystics. I'm knocking Sunni Akida. I'm knocking Sunni Akida that and yeah. So yeah, I'm knocking Sunni Akida. I'm sorry. Okay, I don't mean this to be a sectarian or a battle between the Akitas, but the issue came up, so I had to address the issues. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just addressing the issues here, and it was the Akita conflict. But then again, it's real. I'm just being real. I'm not trying. I'm not here to attack nobody, but at the same time, we got to tell the truth about the issues that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Or the best of my ability, I got to talk about the issues that are being brought up. But this session is not an attack session. It's just that we have to address the issues that are coming up. Okay, I want to just from Anna. I want to ask you. I want to ask you, Dan. Okay, what is Sunya and Nirvana? I mean, you should know that more than me. Sunya. Shunya or Nirvana. Because he asking, does Marifa equal Shunya Nirvana or Nirvana? But first, I want you to explain that. So then I'll see if Marifa correlates to that. Shunya or Nirvana. That.
Shunya, I think, is a Zen term. Maybe I'm not real familiar. I wouldn't. I would think it would be more like prajna or bodhi, like bodhi nature, like your spiritual, like your Buddha nature, like your seal, not your seal, but like, I don't know how to really answer that question. But I don't think it's like nirvana. I think
Uh, um,
the way you're to connect.
Google it real quick. Please Google it. Can you Google it? Because it's not showing up. The Wikipedia don't work on my tablet.
Well, what?
Can you
Shunya?
Google yeah, Shunya, Shunya on your thing, yeah, right there, yeah. Shunya. This is what the definition here.
Emptiness. So anatta. Nah, I don't think it means anatta, like non-self emptiness. Um, or heaven mudra. That's like a hand sign. Mudras are like hands. The way you place your hands. Yeah, I don't know how to answer that, man. I don't think
Okay.
it's shunya and I don't think it's nirvana. I would say it's more like a nature, like your connectivity or something like that.
No, Marifa means enlightenment. It's like, but it's like having an explosion of all your inner instinctual knowledge just be out. Okay, it's like you said, nature, but okay, yeah. So it's different. Okay, I'm gonna say how it's connected because they're both ultimate conditions, right? They're both ultimate conditions we want to be, but we have a different ultimate goal in terms of we want paradise. You know what I'm saying? So we want, and our paradise is sensual. Paradise for us is sensual. You
Yeah.
know, it's physical. What I'm trying to say is that the spiritual and physical don't have. It's just almost like the same things. The esoteric, exoteric are not different in Islam, especially according to halakha wa istiqamah. That's the issue. I don't see the esoteric, the sensual. I see the sensual as one side to the spiritual, especially in paradise. The sensual and spiritual come together perfectly. Like to us, the inner and the inner and the external, the esoteric and the exoteric and esoteric are just two sides of the same coin. So
Mm.
that's where these issues are coming about.
Right, right.
It's
I
the
see
separation
it.
between the esoteric and esoteric.
Yeah, I see it. I understand. I get it. Yep. All right. So I forgot where I was. Oh yeah, it does not only. Okay. It it does so not by contradicting formal theological dogmas and the faculty of reason proportioned to them, but by plumbing the hidden depths of the. Didn't I read this already? No, plumbing the inner
No,
depths
you're really it. That's where we at.
of those
But
dogmas by means of the spiritual faculty of the heart. So yeah, spiritual faculty. Yeah, as such, Marifa calls out for spiritual intuition and not simply rational cognition. Once the stress by Al Ghazi on inner effort. So yeah, I see he's still separating. So
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He's still separating this.
simply
That's what he's doing.
rational cognition.
He keeps separating the mind. He separates the
Yeah,
esoteric from the esoteric all the time. I don't
because
agree with that.
like if you listen to like some people like who do dawa, right? Like they try to make it a logical and rational decision, but they forget to talk about the beauty and love that you could have from God. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't hear about that. Like I always hear about verses and text and its breakdown of, infinite regret, all this stuff like whatever. But I never hear about like, how to feel
Joy,
better
having
as a
joy,
person.
having
Yes.
the
Like
I.
have
That because it's not good. I mean, you haven't gone to the right dawah then.
well
That
no,
because
I'm just saying like your typical like, when you hear
yeah,
people debate
that's not the
like
right dawah. The dawah is not the is not the it's not that's not Istikama dawah. I'll tell you that much. It's not Istikama dawah. That's how other dawah is. I mean, some dawah don't have some dawah is not enriched. You know, it's not enrichment. It's not enrichment. They're
I
not
see.
giving you enrichment.
Yeah, like I feel like it's always like that like you're dumb if you don't believe this, like you don't have the intelligence to believe this, or but they don't. It's not like about the faith that you put into it, like like the work you have to put in to believe and to like how that is going to transform your life, like having faith and being a loving and sharing experience and the love that this is supposed to like believe or like that's what I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, no. I mean, what you're seeing is people expressing Islam, not in the sense that I'm speaking of, in a different sense. But okay. To make a long story short, right? Now the observations you're making, we're examining the root of the thinking that causes the expression, the expressions, the expressions that you have observed. You understand? We're
Mhm.
examining the roots of the thinking that are causing the expressions you are that you're observing. So here's where it comes from. This way of thinking.
Okay.
You understand now?
Yeah, yeah. All right. So such effort implies a range of spiritual disciplines centering on prayer, fasting, and purification of the heart and soul from all vices. From the perspectives opened up by these disciplines, the crucial relationship between metaphysics and ethics will be observed, and a perception of this inner nexus between spirituality and morality in Islam can help us to perceive commonalities and affinities with the Buddhist spiritual and ethical tradition. Okay.
Now I see what he say, but I still his whole separation thing is
Yeah.
that's the issue. Okay, keep
Yeah.
going.
So he's gonna, yeah. So the aim here then is to engage in a dialogue which is focused on spiritual affinities while remaining keenly aware of the fundamental differences of accentuation, as well as the unbridgeable gap which separates the two traditions and their fundamental creedal structures. This kind of dialogue can yield not just philosophical but also spiritual fruit, for it can allow us to understand dimensions of our own intellectual and spiritual traditions more fully. Those dimensions which remain either implicit or less stressed in our tradition, and which can be seen more clearly in the light shed by principles which are accentuated in the religion of the other. Without fundamental differences between the two faiths as regards spiritual economy and dialectical style, this function of reciprocal illumination through dialogue is scarcely conceivable. However, without some notion of the common ground shared by the two religions at the transcendent level, it is unlikely that dialogue can go beyond the simple affirmation of shared ethical and social values.
Hold on. Okay, I'm trying to get that point now, right? Because that's what I was talking about before, right? He said the two religions at the transcendent level, right? He said the common ground. Without some notion of the common ground, it is unlikely that the dialogue can go beyond the simple affirmation of shared ethical and social values. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why I didn't agree with the thing he said about them not being on the same plane. Because if we're talking about religion, we're talking about transcendence to begin with. So we're talking about things that we naturally communicate on the same plane. So I didn't get what he was saying before. You understand?
Right, right. Yep, I get
Because
it.
that's why I was like, what? I was like, what is he talking about? They're not on the same plane. Yes, they are, because it's both religions and on human communication, they are on the same plane, and that's the communication of transcendence.
Mm,
So it's like I didn't get what he was saying before. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I mean, he's trying though. Don't get me wrong. It's still a good effort he's putting in, but I don't think I don't think I don't think he puts it together as solidly as yeah, and of course I think that's the weakness of his not being of his being a school of thought outside of Halakulis Kamba. That's why maybe he's not there. His thought process is not as solid and integrated as I would like it to be dealing with the topic from his root. So I see the weaknesses in his argument, but it's still a good effort he's putting out. I get what he's saying in terms of we need to connect on that plane, but that's the plane we always should have connected. I mean, the fact that we even having this conversation, that should already been established. The point of this conversation to begin with. That's the only reason we were having this conversation because of the shared plane as a transcendent ideology, i.e., religion. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? And
mm-hmm,
he's, and it shows the holes in Akita, and it's it is what it is. It is what it is.
mm.
Ah, but but it's difficult because you know what I'm saying. I see the
Yeah,
holes. It's like these
yeah.
gaping. Is your gaping holes? Is like gaping heretical holes. It's like wow. I'll be like, what the wow? There's so many holes that are just gaping. Ooh.
Jeez. Pause. Okay. The religion of the other might be see. Oh, no, no, no. Sorry. Oh yeah, go beyond. Okay. For such an affirmation can so easily go hand in hand with distrust, suspicion, and condescension vis-a-vis the religion of the other. I don't even know what the hell this means. Vis-a-vis, vis-a-vis.
No, yeah. Vis-a-vis means by the other one, vis-a-vis, it's the
Is
same.
that a French in relation to with regard to? Okay. The religion of the other might be seen as generating positive ethical values despite the religion's falsity rather than because of the religion's truth. See,
Okay, wait.
this is that thing that I'm
the
talking about.
religion
Like they
the
always
religion of the
trying to
other might be seen as a generating positive ethical the religion of the other might be seen as generating positive ethical value despite the religion's falsity rather than because the religion's truth. So what for such an affirmation can go hand in hand with distrust, suspicion, and condescension vis-a-vis the religion of the other. The religion of the other might be seen as generating positive ethical values despite the religion's falsity rather than because of the religion's truth. Okay, so despite its falsity, it could be so the way he's looking at it is almost like he's not looking at it from ah it's like yeah.
but this is how I feel like this is that where I feel like people look this is how people look at it though. Like this is kind of how I did like I've had to deal with like they always just want to say it's false and doesn't it's not true. You know what I'm saying? So I get where he's coming from. All right. So the question of ultimate
Yeah,
truth
yeah,
and oh,
that's not the approach you should do if you're trying to a common. That's not a common ground. I mean
right,
that's
but
not
I
the
think
approach you
he's
should.
trying to be I agree with you.
Yeah,
It's kind of
but in
harsh.
real life, you got. I mean, okay, if you're going to take on this type of challenge, right? You have to first and foremost be able to compartmentalize.
Yeah.
You got to be able to compartmentalize. You got to be able to say, you know what, this is not me a discredit session. If both religions are reporting truth, I'm looking for truth to begin with. I'm looking for transcendent truth to begin with, right? And that's my only aim. If I'm saying it's a common ground, is a common ground venture. You know what I'm trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that is weaknesses in the way he's approaching in the venture. I mean, it's still a good venture because we're reading it, but I mean, I see creases, I see holes, I see holes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Shit, I lost my spot. Okay, rather than his truth. Okay. The question of ultimate truth and reality cannot, therefore, be left out of any dialogue that wishes to go beyond scratching the surface of an ethical agreement. It is for this reason that in what follows we've devoted considerable attention to the question of the supposed atheism, or more accurately, non theism of Buddhism. For it is this apparent denial of God that constitutes one of the greatest obstacles to effective dialogue between the adherents of Buddhism and other religious traditions. Facts. We
Yeah, that's
propose
fact. Yeah,
that
that's fact. Yeah.
we propose that the ultimate reality affirmed by Buddhism is nothing other than what monotheists refer to as God, or more precisely in Islamic terms, to the essence of God, al dat. In
I, I,
Muslim
I mean, yeah, but I'm trying to say is that that should have been the goal from the get go. Like all the other stuff was just like it was just like you know what I'm trying to say. It was almost like if you look at it from that perspective, what is the essence of God? What is al-haq? What is the reality, the ground truth? You look at it objectively. Everything else he said, it shows you all the culture business and baggage that comes in, or maybe him being a Sunni or Shia, because everything else was just baggage. You see all that baggage that just came in? That was
Yeah,
all baggage. All that separation, that was just all baggage and baggage and baggage to get to this point. It was a lot of
yeah,
baggage. We went through a lot of baggage to get to this hit in
yeah.
one line. You know what I'm
But
trying to
you
say?
know what though? Like I feel like it's almost necessary because this is how people look at the thing. You know what I'm saying?
You're right,
Like,
because you're looking from that perspective.
yeah,
You're right,
they always want to
because I'm from a
disprove it.
smaller, because I'm from a smaller school, so we look at things
Right,
differently.
right,
But the Sunnis are way bigger than us, and more people know them. So yeah, so he's appealing to a Sunni audience in a way too.
right,
So that's why he's
right.
talking to them in their
And
language.
in order
You know
for
what I'm
them
saying?
to take this seriously, he's got to
Yeah,
make sure that they're not gonna. Yeah, I get it. I
yeah,
get
yeah.
it.
He got speaking in a Sunni language. You're not speaking in
Yeah,
Islamic language. Of course, it's the common because us. we would have went straight to this from the get go. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Okay, so in Muslim theology, Allah comprises diverse qualities and attributes. Many of the names will eventually be quite alien and indeed incomprehensible to the Buddhist intellectual tradition. Why? Like, well, I guess
Yeah,
because
yeah,
of all.
no,
Okay.
no, 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 because the way he names it, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm gonna give example. Okay, I'm gonna give example. I'm gonna give example right now. Johnny John is on the chat and says, so in other words, he's saying Allah is emptiness or zeroness, right? And no, he's not really saying that. You know what I'm trying to say? So what I'm trying to say is that there is he's kind of right about that. There's gonna be a disconnect in terminology when we're talking about these things to a certain extent, right? There's gonna be a disconnect in terminology, but if you really talk about ultimate truth, you're gonna have because look, if we're calling God ultimate truth and you're calling God something, you call ultimate truth something other than God, right? There's a disconnect in terminology, but that means that okay, but if you were to accept the ultimate truth is God, that means Buddhism can no longer be seen as a non-theistic religion because that means in reality it will be a theistic religion just with hidden God
Right. It would be
or something
seeky.
like that. Or
It would be sneaky.
it'll be like Siki. It'll be Siki. Oh yeah. It'll be like Siki. Yeah, it'll be like Siki. Yeah, it'll be like Siki. Basically, it'll be like
Yeah,
Siki.
that's it. They're Buddhists with a god. That's just, like,
But what if Buddhism always had a God? What if Buddhism really always had a God?
I don't think we're supposed to worry about the idea
But
of
what if
that.
it had it? What if it had it? And that
I,
might be the distinction because you don't know what you really had the whole time, and you didn't have the personal relationship with God that you should have had. You know, no, no. I mean, for real, this is a philosophical question because this is where disconnect. Because look, this is where disconnect even coming between us, Islam, and Buddhism is like to us, we don't we feel God being ultimate reality. There's no transcending. There's no transcending what is ultimate. What I'm just saying, no matter what, you have to embrace the ultimate. There's no transcend. What I'm just saying, there's no detachment from what is ultimate. In other words, we don't have the ultimate detachment because we believe the ultimateness, the ultimate, the ultimateness is in a is an attachment. So we attach to the ultimate. You understand? And we
Mhm.
attach to it personally. So that's where our thing is coming. So that's the disconnect. The disconnect is that. So then it's like it's wow. It's just this is we're at a point where it's like we we're at a face off. We're at like a junction. Like it's almost like it's unpassable. It's like saying it's like how do we say is not what it is. So that means we have
So,
to. So that means to talk about it. That means the Muslims have to hide God behind the word truth, but they always, but God is always the truth. Like it's almost like how do we talk about it? How do we do this? It's almost like what?
so
It's like
truth is truth, right? Like truth is truth, right? So if you're,
the truth is
if you're
God in Islam.
right,
Al Haq
right,
is also God.
I know. So listen, right? So what if the art like Buddhist truth is still truth, but there's no labels or attributes or any kind of idea or like nothing attached to it. It's just the ultimate truth.
Yeah, but
But,
but ultimate truth is an attachment to ultimate truth.
right, but
Even the notion of ultimateness is an attachment. Even notion of zeroness is an attachment. Even notion of nothingness is an attachment. You know, it's different. Oh, so Rapper said, "Sadi, let her talk." I'm letting her talk. We're having a conversation. I'm not dog hogging it as much as you think it is.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
no. But
yeah.
so like see, he never said like there was no God, right? But people were so like attached to like their gods, like this God is better than that God, and this God is better than that God. And I remember, I can't remember the source, but the story was he was debating some Brahmins, and they said, is there a God? And he said, well, I don't know, basically what kind of God would create someone like you, right? 'Cause he was like a terrible person, you know? Like if a God created you, then that means he created everything that you've done and everything that, like and to other people, like, he didn't answer, like he just stayed quiet on a lot of things. But I think what he was like trying to get people to do was transcend the idea of all of their little personal gods that they've made and
So
just
isn't transcendent an attachment? Even the okay,
so,
can you say that Buddhism has an attachment to transcendence?
so okay, so like we know that like in order to reach nirvana we have to give up the idea of Buddhism, right? The idea of I was Buddhist, or I, your attachment to you have to give that up at the end, but until we get there, like,
So basically, you have to convert.
what do you mean
You
convert?
have to convert to something else. You convert it to something else in the end. That means Buddhism has okay. That means what I'm trying to say. That means Buddhism is finite.
You would have nothing else to convert to, like at the end
It's
there's nothing else
finite.
left.
So you're finite. So that means Buddhism has an end. Does
Nirvana is,
Buddhism have an end?
yeah, like the breaking of the rebirth, the ceasing of breaking samsara, breaking the cycle of rebirth.
Oh, but Islam doesn't have an end though. That's the difference because Islam doesn't have an end.
Right,
Because Islam doesn't have a beginning, doesn't have an end.
right, but
That's no no. Well, I'm trying to say that's the difference between art because that's where I'm trying to find where disconnect is coming from. But it's like your religion ends. Buddha, well, not your. I don't want to say that in personal terms. Like Buddhism ends, Islam never ends. Islam never ceases to end. Islam never ceases beginning, never ceases to end because it thinks Islam tells itself as God's own religion. It's Deen Allah, right? It's God's religion that God Himself is the Muslim. That's the key of Islam. In Islamic Akida, God Himself is the Muslim. He is God. Islam is God's own religion, and God is forever. Yeah, yeah. Johnny Johnson is the
right,
creator
but
of God.
yeah, so he did though. That's what I'm saying, because like people were saying like, oh, Brahma is the creator god, or Vishnu, whatever the guy is, the creator god, and this other ones had their different god, and he was that, and this was that. So yeah, he did to reject it, like the notions of any of these people's gods being anything remotely close to what created their entire universe. Like, there's no way, there's no way that I don't know, like, it's hard to explain,
Yeah, no,
but
I know, I know.
let's all right, we'll see if we could keep going. Unless, what time is it? 11:10. I'm
You want
cutting
to do
off.
five? Okay, okay. How much? Let's see exactly where we at. So with that page, you're in the page of okay. So let's go to man. Let's go to how far we at? We in 11.
Where I'm at.
Yeah, okay. Let's go to the end of the paragraph on 11 on page 6. The end of the first paragraph on page 6.
Okay.
Yeah, because let's finish this page and then the sentence goes into the next page, but we finish at that at that at that paragraph.
Okay. So, but it says, but when attention is directed to the essence of Allah and some of the essential attributes of Allah, such as the Al Haq, the real or the true, then it becomes possible to discern some common ground between the two faiths on the transcendent plane. The name Al Haq, as we shall argue below, might be translated into Buddhist terms as Dharma. In Arabic, the word Haq comprises not only the ideas of reality, but also that of right, that which is due. Therefore, the notions of duty, law, and propriety are also implied in this polyvalent concept.
I never heard the word polyvalent. You could look at the word. That's a good word to know. There's some vocabulary today.
Having a valence, what the, of three or more, having the property of counteracting several related positions or affording immunity against different strains of a microorganism. Oh, that's medicine chemistry. Having many different functions. Okay. Having many different functions. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Functions, yeah.
The notions of duty, law, and propriety are also implied in this concept that has many different functions. Such notions going to the heart of the meaning of Dharma. However, at the highest level, the Dharma is also identified with absolute truth, absolute reality. Recognition of this kind of conceptual affinity at the metaphysical. All right. Rec- Sorry, I have a rewind. Recognition of this kind of conceptual affinity at the metaphysical level can help bring the two traditions into harmony. However much the orthodox or conventional frameworks of the two contradict each other. However
Okay,
much
let's stop it there. But
orthodox.
yeah, but I agree with the last part. I agree with how he's ending it because yeah, that's what we have to do. We have to go to absolute truth and use that. But at the same time, I mean, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, I agree with that part. You have to do that, but it's yeah, it's not now he's getting to how he's attacking it. But you know, I mean, but before he showed all the baggage, and he's gonna show some more baggage. But you know, it's just a lot of baggage with different accusers and things like that. But how he's attacking it now, getting to see, and that's the way. See, and that's what I'm trying to say. That's why they understand how he's saying. Because look, he said, "What when it becomes possible to discern some common ground between the two places on the transcendent plane." I was saying that from the get go. Remember,
Mm.
I was saying that before he even. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I mean, everything he said before was like what? You know what I'm saying? It's almost like just you see what I was saying now? It's almost
Yeah,
like it didn't make
yeah.
sense. It's like now he's saying the opposite of what he started off with. It's like he went and told you. It's like he just see this. It's like you know what I'm saying?
It's like he had to put a massive disclaimer, like a.
Yeah. Yep,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
You know what
Exactly.
I'm
A
saying? Like,
massive joint.
yeah,
Huge.
he had to make a massive disclaimer.
That was a massive disclaimer. That was massive though. That's a
Pages.
gigantic. That's a gigantic shit. Oh my god. That shit was confusing the mess out of me. I don't know what the fuck I talking about. Oh my god. Wow.
Holy shit.
Oh my god, man. Oh my god, Almighty who made me. Oh my god, Almighty who made me, man. I was like, what?
This guy wrote a whole story disclaimer. Like, he's like, these motherfuckers are gonna come kill me for saying this shit. Like, let me make my like let me lay my shit out. Like, sorry, cussing.
Man, oh man. Oh my god. Oh my god, man.
That's
Wow.
funny.
Wow. Okay,
I
wow.
hope
That
that
was good
guy
that.
listens to this. That would be hilarious.
That was a good
Author.
wow. That was a good comic relief. Wow, man. Man. Okay, y'all. Okay, so we're gonna open it up for everybody who wants to come on, right?
All right, yeah. Let me.
Let's open it up. Everybody want to come on, come talk to us. Come talk to us. What y'all think? What y'all think? You know, let's have discourse. Let's have ethical humanitarian discourse. Everybody wants to have ethical humanitarian discourse. Come talk. We be ethical. We're not here to tear nobody down today. And this session is about building, just all building. No tearing down, all building. Let's try to be constructive. Everything we say, be constructive. Disclaimer. We're passing this off as an educational program, so please, we ask no foul language.
Yeah, we'll try not to go. Yes. Okay.
That shit was funny. That was a huge disclaimer saying, yes, he's like, Sunni world, don't kill me, Sunnis. Don't kill me for talking to these Buddhists today. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. You can't kill me today. Oh, man, that's crazy. It's so crazy, though. That's just wild. It's so wild.
Right.
That shit was wild. That shit was wild. That shit was
Oh,
wild.
man.
That shit was wild. I'm
Yeah.
like, what the? It was. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
they gotta keep. They're gonna freaking. They're gonna get. Yeah, they're gonna put my name on this too. Like, let me just go ahead and put this out there. Like,
Oh my god. Oh my god, these people, man. See, that's why I don't mess with these people though. I don't even talk to these people. These people is weird to me. I'm like, these people are so weird to me, man. People say I'm so hard line. I'm such a hard line. I'm such a terror. But these people are weird to me, man. These people be weirding me out, man. I don't deal with people, man. I don't deal with them because look, why you had to do all that? They really gonna hurt them? Oh man, that's funny. Woo, man, that was funny.
yeah, you could tell that there's a lot of like, there's a lot of differences, and it's crazy. Like, I know that there's a lot of differences in Buddhist sects as well. Like, like I was saying, like between like Zen and like Theravada, but I feel like at the core of it, like they could all get together and like, work, like do the same thing, like they could all like pray, like meditate together and, chant together, do everything together, and they still have like a mutual kind of respect for the other schools. There's not like a constant like big up Johnny. I hope that's
Yo, big up.
okay. I'm all late. I hope that's the real one. Too
Oh, did you
late.
think I was gonna be somebody else? Or?
Now
Yeah,
these
they got
trolls,
fake people
man.
sometimes. They got trolls and people do porn bombing and crazy stuff.
Hold on a second. I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
Ugh.
Yeah. So
So what do you think, Jody?
Yeah, no, I think Jen was
is that
right when she was saying that there's like there's no real animosity between the different Buddhist traditions. I mean, they all pretty much, if they're teaching the Four Noble Truths and non-attachment, I mean, that's pretty much
yeah,
it.
the the
It doesn't
eightfold
really.
path, the four noble truth, and that's what he said to keep. When he died, he knew that people were gonna take it and split it. 1 second, is that Victor? Is that you?
Me there. Me there, ma.
Hey,
Me
hey,
there.
how you doing? How you doing? All right,
Yeah.
just checking. Yeah, but
Hey,
what
no,
was I
no,
gonna? What was I saying?
Hey, yo, really, I want to talk to Johnny, though, man.
hey, hold on
Oh,
real quick. Hey,
Yeah,
before
tell
you go,
man.
Jody, let me
I
make a
want to
comment real
talk to
quick.
Johnny, man.
Hey, hold on, Victor. Before you
Go ahead,
before you talk,
Mr. Pelu. Come,
yeah,
go
yeah,
through, go
what's up?
through. Go ahead, go through,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, okay, yeah, what up?
I ain't gonna
Okay,
hold you up.
no. About the conflict. You see, when we were making that laugh whole time, it wasn't necessarily because but about having animosity. It just the intellectual differences were so staggering. You know what I'm saying? Our intellectual differences and our kitas were so staggering. It's like that's I didn't get how we go, but that's what we started laughing about. It was like a big experiment because like us, we would never have needed all that. We would never we like our school like we would never need to do all that. We could have been straight to that thing from the get. It would have started with that. It would have started with going straight to okay. Let's look at it from the standpoint of ultimate reality and just start from there. It would have started from there, but it's almost like they is not necessarily animosity for within when the issue wasn't the animosity between the schools. The issue was inside the schools. People inside a certain school, people are scared of each other because they're scared of what each other will do to each other. That's crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like it's almost
Hey,
like
yo,
they
Mr.
don't.
Pelu, listen. My
Yeah.
comment, it wasn't towards you. It
No,
was
no,
the
no,
court.
no,
You know what I'm
no,
saying?
no,
It
no,
was
no, no,
towards the
no. I know it's not towards me. I know it wasn't towards me.
yeah.
No, no,
It
no,
was
no, no. I'm just
it was the boy
we're just talking about in
talking like
general.
in the commentary in the book. You know what I mean? I disagreed with him. You know what
Oh,
I mean? It
okay.
wasn't with you. It
Oh,
wasn't
okay,
with
okay,
you.
okay,
You
okay.
read
Yeah, yeah,
you read my comment late. You know what I'm saying? But I get that. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Yep. Okay, okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It wasn't a. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't against you, man. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, and I wasn't even talking about that comment. I was just talking about in general. I wasn't even thinking about the comment you said. I didn't. Okay, what was the comment you said? I didn't remember no more. What was that? What? That
All
was
right, nah, man. You hurt my feelings. Anyway, hey, yo, Johnny.
Man, what I do?
Fucking talk to Johnny. Hey, yo, Johnny.
Yeah, what up? What's up?
Watch his cuss words, Vic, please. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Hey, yo, I'm sorry,
I
man.
know. It's okay. Go
Hey,
through.
yo, forgive me, y'all. You know what I mean? I
You're
don't
forgiven.
try it, man.
You're forgiven, just like that. Look at that, huh?
No, the only reason why watch a cuss word because we're passing us off as an educational program. We're gonna send it to people as an educational program, so we can't cuss.
Yeah, yeah. What did you have? What question did you have today, sir?
For Johnny, what you have for Johnny? Hey, Victor, what you got for Johnny?
Yeah, so Johnny, like we was talking in the chat, right?
Mhm.
And we talking about Buddhism and creation shit. Oh, damn, I did it again. You know what? I'm not typing the chat, man. I'm
Not talking.
Okay,
The bottom
okay,
talk
so
without
I saw
it's
cursing.
hard for me though.
To talk without
okay.
cursing. You
It's
can't
okay.
talk without cursing. No, please
Just
talk
go back
without
and
cursing.
edit it after and put beeps in or something.
No, we can't edit it. We're not gonna do all that work. We can't do all that work. That's too much work. Okay, it's impossible
So
for
is
you
this
to
the story? Is this the question in
There's
question?
a type of creation story, but it's not really a creation. It's like
I was just asking, right?
It's like,
Johnny knew what I'm talking about.
it's
man.
like it's like the Buddha was silent on some of that stuff about if the world is finite or infinite or whether there's the universe is contracting or not or whatever. So,
No,
but
but
it's kind of implied that the universe is infinite and that the mind, like, for example, on the night of his awakening, he could see all his past lives. That's what one of the blessings of awakening was. So he went and he kept on going back and back and back and back and back. And he just kept on going and he kept on seeing all his lives. And then he just stopped after. I was like, okay, well, I get the point. It doesn't end.
Yeah.
So it's kind of implied that it's infinite, but he doesn't say outright explicitly it's infinite.
That's what I'm saying. Yo, Johnny, that was a cool story. That was a cool story, bro. I just want to know your you know what I'm saying? How all this started. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where this all started at?
Can I so I remember a sutta where he says that the universe is expanding and contracting in eons and for eons and eons, and like an eon is like the life of the universe. You know what I'm saying? So like it was been doing this like in cycles.
Like Kali Yuga or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
there wasn't really like a beginning point. He said that this has been happening in cycles and will continue.
Well, he also did say that in this fathom-long body, subject though it is to birth and decay, I will show you the beginning and the end of the universe. So it's it's kind of weird. Like he says that he implies that it's endless, but then he says that
the beginning. This is what I'm saying.
He can show you it if you meditate.
Show me the beginning. I don't want to hear about the Earth expanding and I don't give a fuck about that.
I said in the chat, you got
on the planet.
You got to meditate. If you don't meditate, you can't really understand it. You can't really
talk without cussing. Why you got cussing when you talk? Talk without cussing.
Hey, yo, I'm sorry. Hey, yo, Pelu, I'm sorry, man. I'm not really trying to do that, man. Hey, yo, forgive me, y'all. You know what I mean? I'm gonna jump off. You jump off.
You're grown. Hey, Victor, you're grown, man. You should be able to. Okay, Victor. Okay. With you're in a job. I know you're not cussing when you're in a job. I know you don't cuss when you're in a job. I know that. So why you gotta cuss?
Yo, that's why I get fired, Pelu, because I always cuss. I get thrown off the job, man. I talk different. But anyway.
Oh man, that's crazy, man. Oh man. Hey, well, who wants to come on, people? Ain't nobody on today. So hey, we can so what you want to do? So
find the
Oh yeah. I'll talk about Pancancilla. I'll talk about some Pancancilla just because. Oh, one thing when we were preparing for this, we were talking about Pancancilla, right? And in Indonesia has a long history of Hinduism and Buddhism, right? But it's also a majority Muslim country. But even in modern Indonesia, they've incorporated their there's traditions that come from the Sanskrit language, and I think have corresponding concepts in Pali, and one of them is Pancansila. Now, the original meaning of Pancansila, the Buddhist meaning is different than the modern meaning that the Indonesian state uses for philosophy. But I'm gonna tell you about Indonesian state philosophy. Pancansila also spelled Pancansila is English for five principles, right? Is the Indonesian state philosophy formulated by the Indonesian nationalist leader Sukarno. It was first articulated in June 1st, 1945, in a speech delivered by Sukarno to the preparatory committee for Indonesia's independence, which was sponsored by the Japanese during World War II occupation. Sukarno argued that the future Indonesian state should be based on five principles: Indonesian nationalism, internationalism, or humanism, consent, democracy, social prosperity, and what the belief in one God. The statement was not well received by Japanese authority, but independence preparations for Indonesia were continued. Before Indonesian independence was declared, however, the Japanese had surrendered and Britain had taken over control of the country. The five principles since become the blueprint of the Indonesian nation. In the Constitution of the Republic of Indonesia, promulgated in 1945, the five principles were listed in a slightly different order and in different words. And then now the first one is what? The belief in God. Second, just and civilized humanity. Third, Indonesian unity. Fourth, democracy under wise guidance and representative consultation. And five, social justice for all peoples in Indonesia. So, but the thing about it though, even the word they use, Pancansila, means five principles in Sanskrit. And Sanskrit is the classical language of Hinduism, which is the Dharmic religion, which is which is the parent religion, if in a way, of Buddhism, and then also the word is also used in Buddhist traditions too. Pancansila is also used in Buddhist traditions. Let me see. Pancansila Buddhism. Wait, look at pan. Yeah, but let me.
It means five precepts.
Yeah, but what's the five precepts in Buddhism? Of Pancansila.
You shouldn't steal, or you shouldn't take life. You shouldn't steal or take what was not given to you. You shouldn't have sexual misconduct. You shouldn't take intoxicants, and you shouldn't eat after the given time. Right?
Okay. So yeah, so that's the principle.
Or what was it? Then there's like you shouldn't sleep on a high and lofty bed, and you shouldn't.
Okay, here's the five.
Those are the eight. I think it's part of the eighth. There's 8 precepts. Like if you're going on a meditation retreat, you well, not always, but you
on a repulsive though take 8. Like repulsive days would take 8.
But like the lay, if you're just like your regular lay day to day, I think it's not 5. To. Yeah, I try to refrain from killing life, telling a lie, lying. I think is one of them. Shit, I'll just Google it. This is so bad. I should know this.
I have it. So it's I undertake the training rule to abstain from taking life, from taking what is not given, abstain from all sexual activity, to abstain from false speech,
right?
To abstain from intoxicants,
and that then cloud the mind.
Yeah. 6 is eating. 7 is refrain from dancing, singing, music shows, wearing garlands, perfumes, and beautifying with cosmetics. And then 8, is to abstain from the use of high, large seats and beds.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but the reason I brought this up because the same words are being used even in it shows you how in the cultures, certain cultures like Indonesia and
Indonesia used to be Buddhist at a time. There's a famous I think they were actually Mahayana Buddhist. Yeah, there was a famous what's it called? I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was actually this massive mandala shaped stupa, or I guess maybe I don't think it's a stupa, but it's a building that was actually buried for centuries underneath a volcano, a volcanic ash, and they recently discovered it. Here, I'll send you a link. It's super cool when you look from above and when you're looking down. you can tell that it was built from a mandala, in the shape of a mandala. Borodoro, that's what it's called. Yeah, here it is. Just a sec.
Yeah.
I put it in the chat right there. So,
Yeah. Sure thing. Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, and the reason I brought this up because it shows that the syncretic practices, because they're absorbing even verbiage from their ancient traditions. Because even if you think about it, the language families of Indonesia, like Malaysian and Javanese and all stuff, they're not even from the same language family as the Indo-European, Indo-Aryan Sanskrit, but it's showing you the classical value that that language had, and how did the classical value of the language come there? It comes there from the intersection of the Buddhism and the Hinduism that was there, and now even in the more Muslim majority state, they're still using the terminology because they're looking at the language as classical language. You know what I'm saying? They're using the classical language deriving from Buddhism to still be their classical tongue, and they're using it to describe things. First and foremost, in the Indonesian Pancasila, first and foremost, the belief in God. And if you know their constitution, they recognize a couple religions. They recognize Islam, Protestantism, Catholicism, Buddhism, and Hinduism. I think those are the ones they recognize. And in Indonesia, they put on your license and all the other stuff. But they recognize Buddhism. The funny thing about it, though, Indonesia, because part of Pancasila is believing in one God. That's part of the belief in Pancasila. The first thing in the Indonesian constitution is promulgated in 1945 is what the belief in one God. But in Indonesian law, they're recognizing Buddhism. I think Confucianism. They also recognize Confucianism, but they're recognizing Buddhism as a monotheistic religion.
Yeah, but it's not
in Indonesian law.
It's not.
I know. I'm not saying it is. But I know. But I'm trying to say that's the discussion to be had. Can it be seen? No. This is what I'm saying, John.
I get it. But see, I made a comment before earlier. I don't know if you guys read it, but like a lot of people, Buddhism, I guess, it is a religion. But the Buddha, he didn't teach Buddhism. You know what I mean? Like he didn't. He wasn't. He taught what was called Buddha Dharma. So it's not an ism. It's a training technique. It's mental training tools that you can implement to end suffering within yourself.
Hey, but Johnny,
it doesn't depend on belief. It doesn't depend on rituals. It doesn't depend on what.
Johnny,
what's up?
Let me ask you this though. It the use of ism could be we just trying to lose the core of stuff and just lose the conversation on semantics. You know what I'm saying? Like, can we be just using isms as a way of dividing things that really are not really divided? Like, are these things like we might say ism religion, but I can say the same thing about Islam. I can say Islam is just is a meditative thing. It's a meditative discipline. Is this that a third? So what I'm saying is that. Are we too quick to try to find this is not that, this is not that, and is there any value of saying what both of them are?
I don't really know what you mean, man. I'm like maybe, yeah, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, like, because we're trying to look what both of them are.
Well, yeah.
What are both of them? And
I think Islam is a religion. I think Islam is like a socio-political, religious ideology. Buddhism.
Both ideologies? Is Buddhism an ideology?
I would say it's more of it. It depends on how you look at it. I guess it depends on how you look at it.
It's almost like you just don't want to say that they can be looked at in the same plane. It's almost like I think
it is a religion. It is a religion, and it depends on which.
I don't want to say
the trappings. It has the. I'll say it has the trappings of religion because there's.
I think it's a religion. See, I don't think it has the trappings.
People have made it into a religion.
Yeah.
Well, people have made everything, but I can say that about everything though. But you can say that about everything. Then you can say that about Christianity. You can say that about
Well, no, because belief in Buddhism, the Buddha said, "Don't believe me." He said, "Hey, don't take my word for it. figure this out. Here's some techniques.
Me because of research, and he said, "Don't follow me by word alone. Follow me by research and understanding."
Okay, you can say that about.
So he's saying no. He's saying don't believe. But in Islam and Christianity and other,
but that's still a belief. Okay, see,
faith-based religions, they're saying you have to belief is the core of their religion. If you don't believe, you're not part of the religion.
Yeah, but if you don't believe,
but you also have to have faith that the path is
exactly about to say that. Exactly about to say that. So
it does require a little bit of faith. Like you have,
maybe trust is a better word.
No, but I can say the same thing though, because even the word for faith in Islam is the same word used as trust. It's called it's iman, right? And from that same word we get the word amana, meaning trust. So even a business, even like a trust fund, it's called an amana. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same. We're using the same words. If you're using faith, the same word for faith is used for trust.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, some people have said that you have to have faith in the Buddha, or I prefer the word trust.
You have to let it go but you have to use it to carry you. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that I think people are trying to artificially make them not on the same plane when they kind of are.
The end goal, once you've developed in meditation, once you've developed in practice, you kind of lose the faith or the trust because you know for yourself. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to have faith in the Buddha anymore because you've already come to the same understandings that he did. It's not like, do you see what I mean? Like you're not dependent on your conceptual beliefs to keep you afloat, or
but you have faith that you're going to get to that standpoint, right? Have you got to that standpoint?
Well, that's why
you have faith that you have faith that you get to that standpoint.
Well, when you're a work in progress, yeah, but once you're fully cooked, once you've completed the path, or once you've developed further enough along the path.
And how you know that?
You just know. You just know.
You got faith. You know that by faith. No,
you've meditated. You've meditated.
There's
measurable, but Mr. Pelu, there's like measurable stances of levels of to get to enlightenment. Like there's definitive things that you have to achieve, there's periods of time.
You have faith that you're gonna and you have faith that those periods exist, right? You have faith that those periods exist.
Well,
you talking about now.
Yeah,
you have faith that those periods and stages
because I'm just not there yet. But once I get there, you don't
exactly. Once you get there, you are at a realization where
exactly.
But you're only being saying that because you have faith that you're gonna have a different realization.
Yeah, of course.
So no matter what, have you transcended faith yet? When have you transcended? What I'm trying to say is that Buddhism hasn't transcended faith.
No, I don't think it has. But I think
the
goal of it is to. The goal of it is to.
But it hasn't. So for now, we could both talk, and that's the goal of it, transcendence, right? So as for now, we could both put them on the plane of transcendence. As the ideology of transcendence.
Transcendence, what do you mean by transcendence? I think the goal of the Dharmic path or the Buddhist path is to end suffering within yourself. You can't end suffering. That's pretty much the end goal. Is just the end of suffering. Transcendence. Yeah. It might have the appearance of you're transcending the world and all that, but
you're trying to transcend suffering. You're trying to transcend suffering.
Well, you don't. You just recognize that suffering is something you do. You know what I mean? You create your own suffering. Your mistaken perception of reality is causing you to suffer, and faith in this regard is actually causing you to suffer. Your belief is actually creating some of your suffering.
It's not that we want to transcend suffering. It's you want to understand it for what it is. You want to
understand it, so you want to understand your suffering. So we can say the same thing about Islam. We want to understand the world we're in. We want to understand creation.
But from different principles, from different operating principles. I mean, you take the operating. Your premise is there's a God, and he's bestowing us all these favors, and he likes these people, he doesn't like these people.
Okay. It's different.
It's different. It's a little different.
Different religion, but it's still religion. We're still talking about the same plane of religion.
Well, It's not
Yeah,
really.
Some people would say Buddhism is a philosophy or a way of life.
Yeah.
So people say Islam is a philosophy and way of life.
Yeah, I've heard
I
that
know you
before.
heard that 1,000 times. So I can say the same thing. So that's the thing. Okay, and I said is Buddhism. Go Marifa. I don't know. Ask the Buddhist that question. The Buddhist should know that question. But
What's the
I
question?
think so. Marifa was the
Marifa is basically enlightenment is the outpouring of inner spiritual knowledge from the roots to the end of yourself as a creature. It's full outpouring. It's full outpouring. Marifa is outpouring. Yeah, it's outpouring.
Oh, I thought you said for a second. I thought you said porn. Like,
no, outpouring.
Outpouring.
Yeah.
It's outpouring. It's intuitive. It's intuitive outpouring is when intuitive and the whatever the outer sense of knowledge is not intuitive when those things are in full exposure to each other in full exposition of your internal intuitive capacities are in full exposition and are in full exposition. Yeah,
I'll have to. Yeah, I don't know about. I've never heard that before.
So I
how do you
think
spell
it'd be
Mara?
Marifa. Yep, Marifa. Enlightenment.
Marifa. So it's an Islamic form of Islam, and it says interior knowledge in Islam, the mystical knowledge of God or the higher realities. That is the ultimate goal of Sufism.
I love somebody else on me. What the hell? Sorry.
Okay, that's kind of so. It's like the mystical knowledge of God. I guess when those Sufi dervish, whatever the hell they're called, whatever they're called.
Not just Sufism. Even in regular Orthodox Islam, we have the concept of Marifa.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's an internal. It's just an Islamic concept because even Al-Aqul has a concept of Marifa, and we don't have Sufism.
Yeah. Okay.
But in our school, the internal, the esoteric and exoteric are not different. They're the same. We combine, but they're the same thing. The two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, I remember you were talking about that. So it's like there's a division. There's a division between the Orthodox and then like the mystics, right? Like the guys who are dogmatic and all about their scriptures, and then you kind of have guys outside of that who are mystics who kind of forge their own path, but still like like Christian mystics. What's his name was a famous one. I forget his name. Eckhart. I forget his name. He was saying. Oh, sorry. The things he was saying were very almost dharmic. Like he was talking about like emptiness. It almost sounded like, but he was a Christian, so it's like, It's like a mystical knowledge, right? Like he gained that on his own somehow. He's kind of seen as a heretic, but still kind of within the fold of Christianity. Does that make any sense?
It's two different things. It's not that. That wasn't the case, right? This was the case. This was going on. All right. There
Miser Eckhart, that's his name.
Hello? Yeah, okay. What happened was there is mysticism and there is traditionalism, and even in certain schools they've been combined by people like Al-Ghazali. So I put Al-Ghazali, but the issue was basically is that the guy was trying to justify. To make a long story short, the whole issue was the guy was trying to justify why is he writing about commonalities between Buddhism and Islam to basically a Sunni world that doesn't want him to do that, and he had to make this long excuse for doing that, and broke down. And broke down. I had to make it long. I had to make
Mr. Pelu's he's losing his shit over there.
He wrote an 8-page disclaimer. He wrote a thesis disclaimer, like, okay, guys, listen.
He had to hit the mute button. That's hilarious.
Yeah, because the way he was doing it, it was like yeah, it was like he had to make this disclaimer like yeah, no, it was like people don't kill me for talking to these Buddhists. It was like so funny though. It was so funny that it was so funny that I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? What the Oh, it was funny though. It was so funny. Because you didn't because me and Jen actually had to read through it, and it was so crazy to read through it. And so that's the reason why it's so funny to us because we really experienced the insanity. Like it's almost like we went down the mind of the insane Sunni world. That's what we basically just did. We went down their insanity. We looking at the roots of their insanity. Like we went down how insane these people really are, and it's crazy. It's crazy the level of insanity. Like he can't even make an intellectual dialogue with Buddhists without having to go through this huge thing. And it's like, wow, it just shows you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just shows you the depth of insanity that is in the Sunni world. That's what it shows you. Hey, I know a lot of people not gonna like what I just said, but hey, the writing was on the wall just now.
Yeah, well, I mean, that conflict, I don't know if is that found in Buddhism? I don't think so. I have seen videos of monks fighting though, Tibetan monks going at it, and like they can get pretty intense. Like there was a recently in the Karma Kagyu lineage, there was this issue with there's two Karmapas, and so there was this infighting between the 16th Karmapa passed away, but he had four, I think it was four principal students. And one of the students went on his own and said he found the next Karmapa. But another one of his students, one of the other four guys, was like, no, actually, I found the real Karmapa, the real 16th Karmapa. And so now there's two 16 Karmapas, and some of it pretty much like split the community. And so the Karma Kagyu's Buddhists were at each other's throats pretty much. One guy was like, I'll slice my throat if you say it isn't the real Karmapa. So, Buddhists can get pretty intense too.
Yeah, but it's almost like the guy felt like his life was a threat, like somebody like he was about to get killed because he's talking to
he's trying to make such blasphemous comparison.
Yeah.
It's
I can see that. So he's just covering like
the way he was covering, it was such a big. I was like, yeah, he made cover it.
That's kind of sad, man. As if he's gonna put that disclaimer in there and be like, "Yo, please don't kill me." From what I'm saying, like
that's basically what he did. It's basically what he did. Please don't kill me for writing this paper. Right? Writing this paper. That's what he said. Yeah. Hey, Anan, if you're there, come on, jump on Anan. Jump on Anan. If you're there, I know he's shy. He don't like to get on stuff. But hey, the link is there, Anan. If you're there, jump on.
6 people, and I got 10 minutes left. So.
I sent it to you personally. I sent it to you personally too, Anan. But yeah, anyway, yeah, because he knows he'll contribute a lot. He knows a lot about the intersection of these different faiths and stuff. But yeah, it was good. But yeah, it was just crazy. And you see, and it's like it's a real problem. But the thing about it though, like us, like my people. We don't have that problem. We don't have that problem at all, and it's because I think it's a lot of unhealthy things happen. It's a lot of wounds happen that they haven't fixed in their school. It's a lot of intellectual wounds, and it's like what happens is like if you know there's weaknesses in what you're saying, you're gonna be more aggressive. You understand? I think doctrinal weaknesses bring out aggression because I think they need aggression to protect themselves. If you really have sound doctrine, there's no need to aggression. Matter of fact, aggression is a detriment to you at that point. You know what I'm saying? If you're sound, aggression is a detriment for you because people are not attaching to you because of aggression. But the people who need aggression are people whose minds are unsounded. That's why they need aggression for their survival because they can't rely on their own soundness. The only thing is to destroy the other. And that's what's going on.
Yeah. I don't know.
We call it Al-Bugat. We call it the aggressors. That's what we call the Sunni world. We call them the aggressors, Al-Bugat, because that's their nature from the get go, from ever since the time of the Umayyads, the Umayyad time, except for Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, but the rest of the Umayyads we call them Al-Bugat.
Oh yeah,
the aggressors, tyrants. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think monotheistic religions, just by their nature, tend to be more rigid in their.
I think rigidity gives you freedom, though. Well, I'm gonna tell you why. I think rigidity in the core. See, you understand? If you have a rigid core, you know exactly where you go.
No, because life isn't. If you're rigid, you break easy. You know what I mean? Like
It
depends. It depends. If you got like a
brittle.
But I mean, like Taoism is all about, you know, bending and flowing and, you know, be like water. What's his name always says, or you know that what's his name? Chinese master, fucking
Taoism or Shintoism. Oh, sorry.
It was Johnny cussing. It was Johnny. Yeah.
No, what's his name? He's Bruce Lee. You know, he says, "Be like water." You know, you want to be fluid and able to move. You don't want to be too rigid. I mean, there's a bit of you want to be somewhat firm.
You need rigid. You need
but you don't want to be too firm. But when I think of the Islamic, and the Christian and the other Abrahamic faiths, these monotheistic faiths, it's that they've become rigid. And so when I think of like a paganism or polytheism, you know, it's easier for them to incorporate new ideas. Like Hinduism. Hinduism just Buddha? He's an avatar of Vishnu. Oh, Jesus? Oh, yeah, he's just another.
But I don't think what you're saying is necessarily muka. Look, see, like for example, one of the term that we use for the spiritual path of Islam is called suluk. It means pathways. It means clarity. It means clear. It means clearness of going. Like somebody who is on the spiritual path, we call them a salik. That means they're moving clearly. They're moving fluidity. Like for example, it comes from the same.
Yeah, but I'm talking about God. Your interpretation of God. If somebody else comes to you and says, "I think God is actually like this," you're gonna say no, he's not like that.
Okay,
he's actually like this.
But what if?
There's more of a
reality. So I mean,
neither of them are the reality. But
if God is in Islam, God is the ultimate reality. Yes, in Islam says God is the ultimate reality. God is al-Haq.
Yeah, but he has no characteristics. But at the same time, he has 9 names, or 99.
What you
names.
mean? No, because that means we have a theological disagreement. That's all you're saying, then, and we know that.
Yeah,
we know Islam and Buddhism have theological disagreement, but we're trying to say, can we talk about Islam and Buddhism together on the same plane of transcendence for ethical humanitarian discourse?
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's commendable what you guys are trying to do. Like, I think it's cool to try and find common ground. I think it's kind of, I really don't see it. It's paper thin ground, a shaky ground, but there might be a ground, but I'm having a hard time seeing it, is what I'm saying.
But we're doing it right now. The common ground is being built right now as we spoke. I mean, Jen, have you felt the common ground? You felt it. Even a good laugh. Even that laugh. That laugh was common ground laughter.
Yeah.
That was common ground laughter. That was some deep. That was some deep common ground.
Yeah, that was deep. But no, I do see, you know, I'm definitely trying to see it, and I do see commonalities in a lot of things. You know, like I said, the way our book is organized, the oral tradition, even like weird little things like
venerations.
There's the veneration.
Remember, that's from last episode, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
all right, I got one. Hey, I got one. I got a commonality between all the faiths. Okay, in in Islam, they say Assalamu alaikum, right?
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Okay.
Yeah. In Judaism, they say Shalom, right?
Malaysian. Shalom Malaysian.
Well, don't the Jews say Shalom, like peace? Doesn't that mean
They
peace?
say Shalom Malaysian. Yeah, Shalom, but that's only half,
Okay,
right?
well, the Shalom, they
Shalom
say
Malaysian.
well,
Shalom
Assalamu
Malaysian.
alaikum. I'm talking about that syllable Om. And then in Christianity, they say Om and Om. And then you have in Hinduism the big Om, and in Tibetan Buddhism they have Om Mani Padme Hum. So maybe that syllable Om, which in Hinduism is the unstruck sound, that's the first that is basically God vibrating Om. It's actually such a cool word or sound. But yeah, there's that Om in all the different the religions there. I don't know. Just
Okay.
I read that one time and I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. Assalamu alaikum, Om, Amen.
Want me to show you something that I found that was kind of cool? I gotta Google it because it has to do with that exact thing. Hold on, I gotta find this shit. Sorry, this thing.
Yeah, there's Om actually. Type in Om in Google and you get assets under management. Investopedia. Om.
Hold on, watch this. Share screen. Share screen. Chrome tab. All right, you see the symbol for Om, yeah? Like you see it on the screen?
Yeah.
The way that it's shaped. And then they say, look, if you flip it and put this here and put this here, it's the Arabic thing for Allah. Look at the look at the thing.
Don't tell that to the rest of the Islamic world.
Look at Om and look at like.
Oh yeah,
I don't know, man. Like.
Well, I think Abraham is related to the word Brahman or something like that. I don't know. I read that somewhere in passing a long time ago.
And look at this. In Christianity, God said, I'm the Alpha and Omega. Omega. Look at the Tao word for Omega.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Okay, guys, I got to go to bed. It was cool talking.
Yeah, no doubt.
Talk to you guys later.
There's a cutoff anyway.
Bro, yeah,
yeah. And have a good night, guys.
Thanks everybody for coming through. Thanks everybody.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Big up to the chat, man. Big up to the chat, everyone in the chat.
To the chat. Big up. I see you people. I see you some people. I the only reason I'm saying everybody because I don't want to miss nobody, but I see everybody there. I see everybody.
Chat.
Yep.
And thanks to all the listeners, and we'll be back on Sunday at 8 p.m. For part 3.
Yep.
Let's
Check
go.
us out. Let's go. Let's do this. All right.
All right. Take care. Thank you, Mr. Pelu. As always, you did a great job. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Thank you so much. I appreciate you too. I appreciate you. Yeah, you did wonderful as well. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Big up, bro. Big up. All right. Big up, everyone.